That's his the buttons.
Shall we begin?
We shall. Cheers, lads. Happy takeover. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Fuck yeah.
Bring it on.
Welcome, everybody who's joining us. The viewer counts are piling up there. The subs are piling up. It is a day that will live in history. Newcastle United have new owners, and we are now officially the richest club in the world and will be a force to be reckoned with. We have no idea how that happened, but it has. And before we get started, we are going to kick off with a little bit of music for everybody. So, Daz, if you would be so kind and bring Davey on, please. Davey, get it.
Beautiful, Davey. Cheers, mate.
Absolutely magical. I mean, is there a better way to start a show with a takeover?
Nah.
Davy Craig.
It's going to be emotional tonight.
Welcome.
Hello.
Mate. Thanks very much for coming on. We had a little bit of banter last night as we kind of gathered pace on the takeover, and I tweeted you and I went, are you going to come on and play tomorrow night? And you went, no, I'm not doing that. And I was like, oh, bollocks, I've made a mess of that. And then you text me and you went, no, I'm only messing with it. I'd love to come on. So in fairness, that takeover went through and you DM'd me dead quick and you went, what time do you want us? So there you go. Local Hero by Davy Craig, exclusively live on Loaded. So Davy, listen, you're the first guest on tonight. What are you thinking? What's going on?
I'll tell you what. I suffer from anxiety and depression, right? And it's just disappeared. It's I've trained myself to not feel things anymore because good things don't happen very often, and medication stuff that I'm on, I'm numb most of the time, and it helps me deal with the last sort of 14 years of the football that we've seen, and it's been great at times, as you know, like under Rafa and stuff like that. But we still had that underlying thing of the chairman, the owner, just didn't care. They weren't part of us. The you know what I mean? They didn't get us at all as a team, as a club, as a fan base, the region, everything. And all of a sudden, my tablets aren't working because I'm feeling everything. Do you know what I mean? And it's fantastic. But I don't know what to do with myself though. I've cried and cried. I don't know how I managed to get through playing that without like being in floods of tears.
I'd say
I made up for it, Davey.
Honestly, like thinking of like people like my dad and who, you know, people who are no longer with us.
Yeah.
People who we've lost recently, you know what I mean? And
yeah, if you think about people we've lost during COVID and fans that are no longer at the game, like this is just such a monumental day for people. The relief that I mean, like me and Daz are in Ireland, so it's like, you know, like I like it broke. I was saying to the lads, I was actually I went out I've over the lockdown and stuff. I got myself a bar and stuff, and I'm going to break it in on Saturday. And I was out buying a TV bracket, and the news broke, and it was all over. And I was like, I actually let out a shout in the middle of Harvey Norman's, and the fella behind me nearly shit himself. But it was like, it was just like such a relief. I came home, and the missus went, "Did it happen?" And I had Sky on, and I went, "I did, babe," and I started crying. It's just, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
The emotion is unreal.
I had to go see my osteopath this afternoon, and I deliberately didn't put the radio on as I was driving back because I thought if something happens when I'm driving back, I'll crash the car. And I got in the house, and it literally, as I came in the door, it was announced, and I just, it was just weird. It just felt so strange because we've waited so long for this. And it just makes it that much more sweet, you know, because we've been through all sorts of stuff, you know, and we've still got to stay up, man. That's one thing. We've got to bring players in, and you know, but it's just unbelievable. For once, I'm almost stumped for words because this kind of thing does not happen to us.
Yeah, no, you know? It's crazy. Pete, let's go around. Let's go around us as well, because it's been a monumental time. I suppose most people know we started this show off the back of NUFC Matters. And I suppose one of the things we need to do is give a massive, massive shout out to Steve Wraith, Steve Hasty, Neil Mitchell, Keith Patterson, because there was a huge, huge amount of skepticism when this started to fall away. And a lot of us, including those guys in particular, kept the faith, while a lot of other shows and podcasts went, "No, it's done. Let's get away from it. X, Y, and Z." And here we sit tonight at 8:08, the 7th of October, 2021, and we are now the richest club in the world. So, Pete, I mean, you're starting to have a little bit of a freak out there. You're worrying me a little bit. But how are you feeling? The emotions obviously got to you. I can see you're having. Yeah, that's not a good look for you, dude. You're a teacher. Come on, pull it together. Pull it together, lad.
14 years, boys. 14 years.
I know, mate. I hear you. How do you feel? Like, what's your thoughts? What was? Let's go over the last kind of, not even 24 hours. Let's just go over the last 5-6 hours. I rang you. You dropped a message in our chat today because you were working. I was working. You said, "What have I missed, lads?" And normally I put on a really stupid voice note or a text or do whatever. And it was that monumental. I said, you know, I'll actually ring him. And I rang you. But since that point, when we chatted earlier this afternoon, probably, I think that was about 2:00, mate, was it? We rang each other?
Yeah. Well, a bit later.
From that time to now, how can you put into words what's gone on today? This last 4 or 5 hours?
Just literally anticipation. And then anticipation into relief. It's 14 years. It's a long time. We've seen a lot of shit in that time. Ownership, players, managers, and we've paid our money, and we've travelled up and down the country, and sometimes in Europe, the odd time in Europe over that point, and you know, we've supported the team no matter what. There's no fan in this country or in Europe or the world that can deny us of this today. There is no other fan base that does that.
I agree, 100%. Listen, mate, you know the boys on this channel. We love you to bits, pal, and it's an absolute pleasure spending the evening with you. And we go through this. We got a lot more people. We got people sitting waiting to come on. Richie, Me and you have been through a lot this year, kid.
Yeah.
We've spoken to each other on numerous occasions. I've had real troubles at home. My mum, loads of stuff, and you guys have kept me going. How do we just describe this? What are we? Where are we? It's crazy.
It's just seriously. I'm speechless, lads. If I'm honest, I think I'm not really an emotional sort of person. I always try to bottle things up and be, that male sort of figure that doesn't show emotion and all that sort of stuff. I cried at my wedding. I cried at my kid's birth. The only other time that Newcastle United have ever made me cry was when they sold Andy Cole to Man United. And I think ever since then, it's like, especially over the last 14 years, supporting this amazing club that we have. Well, since I was, I'm 42 this year, and I had my first kit when I was 2 years old. So 40 years I've been wearing the black and white, and it's just I can't remember such a day where I've been so emotional, bar those other 3 days I've just mentioned. We've had 14 years of anger, frustration, and now today, you see some of the stuff where, I've mentioned all the use off the air today that we've, and I put a tweet out. That statement that got released jointly on behalf of the new consortium that's took over our club. You read that, and we're not talking about people who are locals who supported them at the club all our lives. We're talking about people here who've, Amanda's been she's followed the club for the last 4 years since she had that day against Liverpool in 2017 with Steve Wraith, like we know. Obviously, Jamie Rubin's got his, affiliations through his family and what the investments they've got in the city centre. But then to see everything come together, accumulation today, and that statement be released, to see that there's other people out there that care so much about the club that we all love, and that all the shit that we've been through, especially over the last 14 years. And now we can dare to dream again, lads. We can dare to dream. There isn't just the fight of looking over your shoulder and are we playing the championship next year? Where's our next win coming from? Even if we never made another signing this season, the belief that would come from the squad, from the 52,000 fans in that ground, who before this regime took over under Mike Ashley, we were known as the 12th man. We made a difference. We were a fortress. And now that teams, when they come up to St James's Park now, they're going to feel that every single time they walk onto our hallowed turf. We aren't just a whipping boy again like we've been for the last 14 years. We are going to get back, not necessarily straight away, as Amanda said, 5 or 10 years, that's the plan. We will get back to challenging for the league, challenging for silverware that we haven't won since 1969, lads. This is our time. And that's why I am so emotional today, lads. And everybody else wearing the black and white is feeling exactly the same.
Chris Hall, Avon lady, the love of my life. You've been in York for a couple of days. I'm so glad you made it back, because tonight would not have been the same without you with us. So I'm delighted you're back. I love you dearly. How are you feeling?
Yes! Yes! Boys, I've been dying to get that out all day. So I'm on the train, getting updates. I'm like, what's going on? And then all you are pinging stuff through on the WhatsApp chat, and I'm like, oh, and then when the message come through, I've got to be honest, I've been exactly the same as you. Like, I thought like my mate who was on the train with, he was like, "Are you going to start crying?" And I was like, "No, no, no." I said, I'm sound. But like I said, this is like Richie's just put it absolutely perfectly. It's 14 years of utter pain. Like, you know, not living in Newcastle, like being from Liverpool, constantly, you know, getting stick off me mates and knowing that they're right in the sense that we are just there. We're just part of the furniture. We're not trying to be anything better. We're not trying to strive for better. And then like to just see what's happened today, and for us to be constantly thinking, oh my God, like this could happen. And I think deep down, all of us, I watched the show back last night, lads. What a fantastic show. And I could see us all getting excited, but I could also see, like, I could kind of like see through years, and I could see us all thinking, but we've been here before. We've been here before. Something's going to go wrong. It's Newcastle. You know, this always happens to us. And then, you know, excitement started building, and then there was delay, and then people were going, is something going to go wrong? Are the Premier League going to pull the rug from under us? And then, honestly, when the announcement came out, it was just like honestly, I was just lost for words, and I haven't even had time to watch all the statements and stuff. I've read a lot of stuff, but I haven't had time to, you know, catch up with what Amanda Staveley said on Sky Sports News. I'm looking forward to catching up with things, you know, when I come off this show. But I literally couldn't wait to get on with you lads. Like, honestly, it means the world that I can share this with you. I mean, I think to myself, if I wasn't doing this show, and if I hadn't have, you know, met all these fantastic people virtually online, this feeling, I wouldn't have this feeling that I've got now. I just wouldn't have it. So, you know, massive thanks to all of yous. I'm so privileged to feel a part of this. And yeah, I've got to admit, boys, I'm just fucking excited. I am just fucking buzzing. I've just been the offie. I've got 9 of them in. I'm in work tomorrow. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going nuts tonight. I'm just going nuts, mate. And I'm really excited.
The interest. I put a post up on Facebook earlier this afternoon. I put a picture of Amanda up, and I put a picture of Piff up. And I went, "Oh my God, it's happening!" And your lass replied, and she went, "I fucking hope it does, because if not, my husband's going to be a mess." And I was like, it was the funniest reply ever, because I knew you were on the train and stuff. So it was like, it was a funny reply, and fair play to her. And I think, you know, I think probably, to be fair, us 5 probably need to give all of our wives a shout out, because they've kind of been through it all. So all of the missuses, I think, need a massive shout out, because they've looked after us. Dazzler, come on, son. Let's come to you. You're last but not least. How are you feeling, kid?
How am I feeling? Well, I think everyone's getting very emotional, so I'll just change the tone and say, "Fuck you, pricks! I'm going solo." Woo!
It's about time.
No, look at lads. I'm
not sure how sexchange.com is going to work out for your dad.
Look at I got slightly emotional, really, after a meeting yesterday evening when I heard Pete's tweet, or not his voice note, and it was the realization that this is actually going to happen. Now, it hasn't sunk in at all yet. And you mentioned wives. My wife has watched me wandering around the house, just looking for things to do, or what I do next. You can't settle, and I couldn't. 2 hours last night in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep. You know, it's all of that. Like I've been a Newcastle fan for 30 years. Like you, Martin, you understand as well. Growing up with Man United, Liverpool fans all around you, and getting abuse, fun abuse, you know, not bad abuse, but now we can give it back.
Yeah, finally, now we can say, exactly, fuck you.
Yeah, well, maybe not that, but look at and for me, look at. I think I said it, and I know Aloide's in the green as well. I said it on Aloide's chat session today. We don't want to. I don't want to try and win the league next year. Really, I don't want that.
No.
What I want is a project that you can see it grow, and it will mean all the more when we eventually get into the top 10, get into further afield, get into Europe, maybe the UEFA, the Europa League, or whatever. You know, just build gradually, and that's what we want, and to integrate with it, and the owners be part of it, bring us with them, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Just that, and just a bit of communication from the club, and now the most important thing for me is Now I found fellow Newcastle fans my nearest one is probably Martin that I know of, who is 2.5, who I've never, like all you guys, I've never met any of you face to face, and like we have something to look forward to. We're going to meet up on matches and so on and so forth. We have it. We can dream again, and that's for me what it's all about. And today is the start of that, and that's why we begin.
Can I just add to what Daz has said, because he's absolutely spot on. And when I had the opportunity to talk earlier, I was kind of like just bubbling a little bit. So
whatever.
I think Daz makes a good point. You know, it's a project. It's something where, you know, we are looking to build year upon year. It's not going to be something that will happen straight away. The media will want that. The opposition fans will say that we want that, but that's not the case. It never has been the case. We've been fighting that corner for 10 years now, longer than that, 20 years. The one thing I want is from us as fans is to be patient. We need to be patient. We will get there. It will be a build. It will take time. We will have some down moments. It's not always going to be great. But what we have to remember in those down moments, wherever they are, or whenever it happens, is remember where we were for the last 14 years. Remember where we were and how much we suffered as fans in this fan base, the away trips, the home games, the awful management, the awful performances, the awful construction from the guys in the board, the two guys that were on the board.
Bad managers, Dennis Wise, the name and the change of the stadium name, all of those things.
You can name it all. We have to remember that in our bad moments moving forward, you know, we've got to remember there are likely to be more better moments than bad moments. But in those bad moments, so if we are lucky enough where we're challenging for a title or we're going for a trophy and we don't quite get there, remember that for 14 years, we weren't even within a sniff of getting an opportunity to win a trophy, and be thankful that we're there and to be patient with this ownership. This ownership have fought for us for 4 years. They've gone through the mill. They've been disrespected. You know, they have fought for us constantly for that 4 years. And we have to remember that in everything that we do as a fan base moving forward.
Absolutely. And so we did, just before we get into we'll kind of move on. But do you mind
if I just say something? Sorry.
No, go on, Davey,
before we do. You guys will remember, because you watched the Zoom premiere of We Are the Geordies. Yeah. And I was kind of directing it to everybody, but I was speaking. Malcolm McDonald was there, and he's my hero. Do you know what I mean? And talking with George Colkin and whatever. I was born in 1969, and I was born a month before we won the Fairs Cup. So my mates say I'm a glory hunter. Do you know what I mean? Because we've actually won something in my lifetime. But my first match was the very last game of the 1974-75 season, and we lost 2-1 to Birmingham City, and I absolutely loved it. And I was already a fan. But I mentioned at the end of the Zoom thing, if you remember, I said, look, go back, and I'm just going back as far as I can remember. We had a little bit of a high. We got to the 2 Wembley finals, and then we were in Europe, and that same season we went down. And in those couple of years before Keegan came, there was no hope. There was just nothing. I was at the match. There was 8,500 against Leyton Orient. Do you know what I mean? There was just nothing. The highlight was taking the mick out of the players, mostly Steve Carney in goal. You know, because we were absolutely appalling. We were shocking. And then you had the Keegan, so it kind of went up, down, and then it went back up, and then the wooden back Arthur Cox, and then it went back down again, and it stayed there for a while, and we thought, this is it, this is where we are. And then the takeover kind of happened, and then you had the Keegan era, Bobby Robson, and it started to go downhill after Bobby Robson went. But then, you know, I remember jumping up and down when Mike Ashley first took over the club, thinking, you know, oh, we've got like, this rich guy who's just appeared. But then so that was a high, and then very, very quickly it plummeted again. And we've been down there with tiny little bits coming up. And I said back in December, I don't know when it'll happen, but it will happen. There will be a day when Ashley's gone, you know, when all of his cronies have gone and Bruce is gone and whatever. I mean, he's still there at the moment. But that day is today. It's actually happened. You know, I was talking 10 months ago, and it was like pie in the sky. It was like, you know, thinking this will happen one day. And I was thinking it might not even happen while I'm still alive. I'm only 52, but that's what I was thinking at that time. And it's happened today. On this day, it's going to be remembered by every Newcastle fan for forever, basically, because this is the start of a new beginning, and it's all come to fruition, you know. And we don't have to worry and think about things like that anymore. Touch wood, you know. But sorry, I just wanted to say that, guys, because that come to me head,
Dave,
you know.
Dave, it's quite fitting you mentioned that about like. It's quite fitting you actually mentioned about remembering this day. I've got myself a little memento, and I went and bought a bottle of brown ale today. I drank it already. I couldn't wait, unfortunately. But this bottle is going to stay on my shelf next to me. I've got a little one up there, St James's Park. You can probably see it in the background. I made myself. That is going to go next to it, pride of place, to remind it of the day that our luck changed. That one bottle is going to be a reminder of what's happening for the days going forward.
Rich, I'm going to have to make some room on the mantelpiece, mate, and put my 9 up.
Yeah. It'll definitely be a 9 bar. All right, listen, what we'll do is we'll move it on. Davey, Craig, listen, we're going to let you go, mate.
Yes,
thanks
thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Totally appreciate the music. You're an absolute star, mate.
Anytime,
mate. Keep watching, and we'll get you on again soon, mate. Thanks a million, Davey.
All the best. Cheers,
Davey. All the best.
Take care, mate. Thanks, Davey.
Lads, so we do have a little bit of breaking news. I don't know if people are still watching Sky. So Steve Bruce has released a press statement.
What?
As you would expect, he says he's hopes that he will be afforded the chance to show the new ownership exactly what he can do, because he believes that he has the ability to improve it. So we can obviously now say goodbye to Steve Bruce, who is a fucking muppet, who we know that is just a goodbye sentiment and will be let go very, very promptly. But yeah, so Bruce has released his statement there this evening after his chat with Amanda, which I'm sure included a payoff and a good riddance. So what we'll do, Daz, we've got 2 lads sitting there. We've got Shabi, we've got Al Walid. So do we want to bring them on?
Let's bring the lads on. So we bring on all 3. And we
had 3. Sorry. Oh yeah,
we have 3. Here's Al Walid. Here's Seb. And here's
Hey, the lads!
Yes,
boys! Finally hit it!
Yes, lads!
Yes.
Get it into you. Get it into you.
Guys,
Go on.
done it. Do you know?
First, Shabi, 2 seconds. First and foremost, before we get into everybody, I think we should first get our good friend Al Walid to give his version of takeover and events in the last 24 hours, because there he sits in his Starbucks cafe in the gorgeous city of Riyadh with our now new ownership partners in the glorious Saudi Arabia. So Al Walid, my brother, welcome. What has it been like in Saudi and for you guys over there in the last 24 hours with all of this breaking? What's it been like?
Away the lads!
Get in.
You like?
Actually, I'm speechless. I know I come early, but I was really excited to be with you guys, because I am in my studio, and I wish if this moment happened. If I know it will happen this time, I should be in Newcastle this time. I'm very speechless. I just enjoyed listening to you, all your experience. We were together with this since the beginning, and it was nice to hear. And to the conclusion, we get what we want. We are a good fighter, a good matching between great filter matching between Saudi and Newcastle fans. Now we are just going to another level. I want a Premier League title. I want Champions League. This is what you should bring to Saudi Arabia.
Kieran!
Yes, Kieran.
Yes,
Oh, get in there.
There he is.
So, Awaleed, from a perspective, Awaleed, how obviously now Takeover's gone through, so we've got Saudi ownership. How is Newcastle as a team now going to be viewed? I know when we've talked loads of times before, you've said, people are, I remember you doing interviews out in Saudi with talking about Newcastle, and back in the early days when we were doing NUFC, we were doing the Matchday Lives. How is this going to translate now in Riyadh and in Saudi? Will Newcastle now start to get a massive following of more and more Newcastle fans, or what do you think is going to happen there now?
Now, everyone now in Saudi Arabia talking about Newcastle, even the one who doesn't care about football in general. So this is massive news. I receive a lot of calls, a lot of messages, because they hear me before talking about Newcastle. And to be honest, a lot of them, they said it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's taking too much long time. So they now remember that I fight this until the end. For your question, Martin, of course, we will start slowly. It depends on the coach. Hopefully now we have the opportunity to build something nice. Why? Because, with all respect of Newcastle players, little bit of the players they are great, but most of them they are still they are not the level what we want. So why I said it's a good thing. Now it's easy to build something from, sorry to say, scratch. Maybe the word is the right word. It's not like you're taking some teams. There is some expensive players you can't get rid of, and there is no chemistry. Now you can build something from the beginning. So we need a great coach, and we add a player at a time. Maybe, as I understand, Newcastle have 2 opportunities for loan in winter market, transfer market. So this is we should start from this. Beside, of course, the coach. With my dream now, I wish maybe I can say Simone, because he can work with any players. I love this kind of thing. But if we want to see who is available, maybe best coach available now is Conte. Hi, the lads.
Yes, mate.
I got mental. Sorry, I deserve this.
You're in good company,
when
Alois.
you are a Geordie. Right, Daz, I want to enjoy some of the chit chat. Daz, you lead for a little while, pal. I've done plenty of talking. Go for it.
Oh, do you really want me to lead? You know what I'm going to do if we lead?
Yeah, right. Go on. I know. Do you want to do it? Do you want to play it?
Go on, Daz. Go on, Daz.
Hit the button.
Go on, Daz.
Daniel,
Hit the
I
button,
see Yano are in the chat. I know Julie had to run off, but they all appreciate this. And you know what's coming, guys? It's this fella. Now, it's the sad news is it's probably the last one ever, because we've got a Project Zebra to look forward to from now on. So
we have indeed, yeah.
This is the last Zebra. We might put him out in his own show or his own.
Put him out to pasture, Daz. Put him out to pasture.
Okay, so here is the last ever loaded Zebra. Enjoy. Apologies for the language.
Yeah.
It's Thursday, yeah. I'm on my way to work. It's Thursday, yeah. We fucking rich as fuck.
Easy, lads.
It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday. Woo! It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday. Woo! Fuck off, man.
Yes, Daz. Yes. Daz.
Holy shit, I swear a lot.
Mate, that is amazing.
That was the
That's
best one
class.
ever. And I fucking hate that zebra. But anyway, yeah, listen, that was class.
Goodbye, Mr. Zebra.
Oh, man. Right,
Great.
go on, Daz, lead away.
yeah,
I need to recover. Go on, let's get some more
I'm gonna
questions
go
at these
I'm
boys.
going to go to Seb next.
Ah, boys, that
Seb.
was boss.
Seb,
How are you
Yeah,
feeling?
so-
Tell us
welcome,
about
buddy.
it.
Welcome, buddy.
Tell us all.
Good to be here, man. Firstly, I just want to say cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. So I'm not gonna
Cheers.
lie. I didn't think it was gonna happen when the whole case dropped the first time. I didn't expect PIF to bring their interest back. And when the news dropped that the BN Sports piracy issue got raised, I thought, okay, fair enough. I'm still not convinced it's going to happen. But I was listening to TalkSport this morning before I was starting work, and the story's just getting loads of traction. And because I work from home on my laptop, obviously I watch Sky Sports in my room, and it was just dominated with the story. So I thought, okay, this is interesting. And then, yeah, it just picked up traction. So, I mean, the first thing I want to say is that statement that Bruce made, that shows how out of touch of reality he is. If he just made a statement, what he should have done today is make a statement to say he's resigning gracefully.
Yeah.
Because what he's done today with that statement, I hope the owner's going to give him a chance. I'm sorry, but that proves how deluded he is as a manager. And I'm not. It's not anything personal against him, but that just shows how out of touch of reality he is. The closest people to him, his son, Alex Bruce, was an ex-footballer. They know how fans think. He's a Geordie himself. He knows how fans think. He knows that he's not going to get a chance. So for him to come out and say, I hope the owner's going to give me a chance, that just shows how deluded he was, how in his own world he is. And the second thing I want to say, we can now put this whole Rafa Benitez thing to bed. I'm interested to know how Rafa feels right now. I'm very interested to know. It's not his fault, because to be
No,
fair,
it's not.
but by the time the job came, like, obviously he had to take another job because the interest had already gone by summer. But I would just be very interested to know how he feels right now, because Dave, Pete, we've discussed this before. The
Yeah.
Rafa ship has sailed, and now we can just put that to bed. Oh, the Rafa, we're never going to get a manager that good again. All of that's gone to bed now. Now I've been speaking to some of my Liverpool and Arsenal friends, and they've got the notion of, oh, it's unfair that clubs have investment. Teams should be, they should be where they are from sporting merit. And to me, that's just sour grapes. I'm not being funny. We're talking about teams who have had European football for years, and they've got the nerve to come out and say, no, outside investment is not fair. Clubs should be self-sustainable. I said to them as well, I bet you would not be saying that if your teams, if Liverpool were missing European football for 5-10 years or get relegated once or twice, I bet you wouldn't be saying that. And then on top of that, they've got the nerve to say, oh, it's not just about winning, blah, blah, blah. How long have you had Champions League football for? And they've got the nerve to come out and say stuff like this. Oh, it's not foreign owners, blah, blah, blah. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense, believe me. So now, in terms of obviously the change of manager, it's coming. Yeah, I think Conte is a realistic target. It's a project. He's out of work. We'll pay him what he wants. He'll get his transfer budget. As for January, I'm not too sure that we're going to get value for money. We still need to keep an eye on fair play. But just in terms of upcoming, ASM's going nowhere. He's going nowhere. He's just got a new contract. He's not leaving. All right. And Wilson, Wilson's a great player. He's injury prone. I even think not a lot of teams would take a punt on him because his injury record's that bad. So he may as well just stay where he is. And I just see I think I was speaking to someone about it earlier. This year's all about staying up. And now, obviously, we've already got the stadium, the infrastructure's there. So now we just have to just focus on the training ground, the academy. Next season, we need to have a transition year where, just like Man City have, where we're looking at players like the Joes, the Alanos. We're going to have some transition players for maybe even next season. Maybe one marquee season, hey, let's dream. If Liverpool won't pay Salah what he wants, pay him. Okay, we'll take him. We'll take him. Mo Salah, we'll take him. Okay, we'll take him. Whoever's out of contract, whichever quality players are out of contract this summer, we can bid for them. And I mean, to be honest, I'm not even looking at the fixtures now. All I'm thinking about is getting to January, thinking about where we are in the league, what realistic targets there are. But for me, the next year and a half, the rest of this season and next season is all about transition. We can even have a transition manager. I'm not too bothered. Even if it's not our first target, we can. I don't mind who we get as the manager, to be honest, as long as we just become steady until at least the end of next season. And then that's where we can look at realistic targets. I'm not too bothered about the next summer transfer window. Yes, I do want a marquee signing, but I think the next 2 transfer windows are all about transition players, focusing on making the wage bill realistic. We don't just want an inflated wage bill. We don't want loads of players that are on 100+ grand too soon. We just need things to level out. And yeah, man, good times ahead. Good times ahead.
I think you made a really good point, Seb, in terms of, well, first and foremost, the manager, because you know my feelings on it. We've spoken before. Once he signed for Everton, that was it. In terms of, in my opinion, he was never coming. He was never coming to the club. And you're right. We can look bigger and better right now. We're either going to get a stopgap, or we're going to get a manager that's wanting to see the project, as you said, and that's exactly right. I don't think we're going to see their project until the summer. I think the caliber of player that they want to sign, I don't think we're going to see until the end of this season. But we need players, and what you might see is a few loans. You're going to see, and what a lot of people haven't spoken about. You're going to see a few players leave. You're going to see a few players leave in this January transfer window. You know, the likes of Gale, the likes of Clark. You know, maybe even the likes of Darlow, and they're going to start to move players on, because we've got to remember. We've got a 25-man squad here currently. Our squad's already full. So if we're going to improve, we need to make sure that we've got players out the window. You know, who's to say that Joe Linton might not go on loan now? He might go on loan somewhere in January to save a space, and we might then improve in that area. But it's going to be a really interesting ride. It's going to be a journey. Like you said, what the key is now, whoever the manager is, those players need to step up between now and January the 1st, because we need to ensure that we're with a fighting chance of staying in this league come January the 1st, because I believe on January the 1st, there'll be signings being made. The one thing that we can look forward to as fans is that we're not going to wait for the summer to get a signing, or wait until January 31st to see if we're going to get a loan signing. These players will come in on a regular basis through the summer and in January, and I think we'll start signing players straight away, because we've got no time. We've got no time to mess around. So it's going to be a really, really interesting period of time. But you're absolutely spot on, Seb.
What I also want to see is, I want to see people like Kevin Keegan back involved in the club in some capacity, whether it's just as an advisor or something. Yes. We need to get all these legends back involved. I was listening to Robert Lee on Sky Sports.
Warren Barton,
Robert Lee. Yeah. I was seeing them all. David Ginola, he wants to get involved in the coaching staff. We need to get all of these Illuminar players back involved in the club. People like
I think we'll see that.
People like Noboto Solano, people like Solano, all those guys, they need to just be involved in some capacity, whether, even if Kevin Keegan's just an ambassador, we just need to get all these guys back involved.
People need to know, people who know what it's like to wear the shirt.
Yeah. I had this conversation with Chris yesterday, last night, and the one thing I said, even before we look at them in a role, I want to see those guys on the pitch next Sunday.
Yeah.
Our first game under new owners, I want to see Kevin Keegan unveiled to the fans. I want to see Shearer there.
Yeah.
What I actually want to see, you know where I want to see Alan Shearer? I want to see Alan Shearer alongside Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville in the Sky Studio. When have we had a proper representative of Newcastle United in the Sky Studio on a regular basis? And I tell you what, if we're going to be a team that are going to be up there challenging, we're going to need a Newcastle United representative. So get him away from Match of the Day. I love him with Ian Wright. Bring them both put them in the Sky studio together with Neville and with Carragher, and let's make it entertaining for the Newcastle fans. We've put up with absolute shite over the years. We've had commentating on Newcastle games. The Sunderland owner at the time, Niall Quinn, right, commentating on our games. You know, commentating on our games or in the studio for a Newcastle game. We've had Kieran Dyer that's talked negative about the club. We've had other people that have got no affiliation with the club that have talked about us. It's about time that we have people representing our club in the studio, in Sky, BT Sport, Match of the Day, the lot. And I want to see them all. I want to see Jonas Gutierrez, who was disrespected by the club whilst he had cancer. I want him on the pitch. Right, I want Peter Lovenkrands, who the fans loved when he was in the Championship with us. I want him on the pitch. I want to see an array of ex-players that have been disregarded by the previous ownership on the pitch, because that's the way we're going to get the appreciation back from these fans. 100%.
Definitely.
Lads, I want to get in here. Just two things. One, there's some people trying to get in. That we just have to wait a few minutes, and we will get you on, but you just have to be patient, I'm afraid. And then the second thing, I want to go to a bit of breaking news. Breaking news. There's been an announcement. It's not football related. We have a new bond. Here he is, Roller.
I love that.
Welcome, Keith. Get in there, boy.
Welcome, Keith.
I've got one question for you. How do you like your cans and how do you like your drinks?
Whoa, it's going down like a treat, boy.
Shaken, not stirred. Shaken, not stirred. I think is the answer. Keith, before we go to you, we're going to go to the lads who are on there that are waiting patiently. Let's go to Chris A. Chris A. Tell us your thoughts, man.
Well, guys, it's great to celebrate with all of you. You know, we've been waiting 18 long months, and you know, we said all these things that the Newcastle takeover for a lot of us, you know, echoing the first guest, was really trying on everyone's mental health, and that the Newcastle takeover was sort of like possibly like the one sort of positive that we had to look forward to, and then it was sort of snatched out of our hands, you know, out of our grasp last June. You know, since then, you know, we've had COVID, and I had a really bad experience with COVID after the protest of Parliament. I mean, I was brought out of my flat by an ambulance. I nearly died. So I was in and out twice this summer. So I didn't even, maybe like, I might have not even made it to this point. So I'm thankful to be here with all you, you know, guys, my friends who I've had the chance to meet some of you guys, but not others. But it's been a pleasure to talk with you guys the last 18 months, and to you know, I think we definitely helped everyone, all of us, get through this, get to this point. So here we are. Wow. You know, as someone who came from this experience sort of with the Middle Eastern background, kind of seeing things from that perspective, I sort of thought some things were kind of insurmountable, like the sort of reconciliation of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. You know, who would have thought that a football club's, you know, takeover was dependent on two sort of recent mortal enemies, you know, ideological enemies, making good. But you know, anyone who's been in the Middle East knows that there's a sense of family and brotherhood, and kinship, and that's really what won the day. And the kinship is what I feel with, you know, with you guys, and the Matters crew. and it's just, I mean, I can't believe we're here. Mike Ashley bought me on my birthday back in 2007, so I didn't know how bad a birthday it was until things started to go really bad with his first relegation. But I couldn't be happier to see the back of Mike Ashley, and it was always a little weird being on side with him. Like he wanted to finally sell us, and we were finally seeing eye to eye when he's trying to get rid of us. I'm just thankful that it's got done. I want to be realistic about what our chances are, like in the next season or 2 seasons, and we're, as Amanda said, she wants to be challenging for trophies, but we've got to get there incrementally and can't expect it to be overnight. I'm not one that really looks at the hate side, but I'm just sort of pleased that we kind of get to stick it to all the haters who have been against us or saying we're glory hunting and all these things that
Here's to that.
Here's to that.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Raise a glass, boys. Exactly. And by the way, I raise a glass as well because you are the craziest fucking American I know.
We love you, mate. We love
We
you.
love you. Yeah, exactly.
So,
we've heard it down.
Exactly. To reciprocate that, me and you were texting kind of pre-matters and stuff because I was asking you some questions. We were talking sports and stuff,
Yeah.
and obviously we share a love along with young Richie there of American football, and we are still going to do some stuff. But you've been absolutely massive
seriously,
on some of the channels.
lads, don't talk to me about the NFL tonight, mate. Don't talk to me about NFL tonight, Mart. It's going to be a long fucking night for me.
It's going to be a long night. But yeah, no, it's been, I think we just want to reciprocate. You came on, I think, one of the first load of mag shows we did when we branched out. You've always been really cool with us 5 guys as we split out.
Yeah.
So look, from our perspective, we just want to thank you for the support from you in particular, and coming on the shows and doing all that. So it's an absolute pleasure to share tonight with you as well. Daz, we do need to move a couple of people in and out so we can get some more people in. So as much as we've got people on, Chris, we are going to move you and we're going to move Seb on, because if we don't, we've got a rake of people and we need to get some answers. So we do appreciate you guys being on, and we know it is short and sweet, but we got a rake of people to get through. So thanks for coming on, lads. Have a great night, and we will talk to you all soon, folks. All right.
All right.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Take care, guys. Right, Daz. Kieran.
Okay.
Kieran.
Positive Kieran.
Positive
I'm doing
Kieran.
right. Come on.
And I would just like to
Positive Kieran,
say,
that's the one.
finally on the takeover, he switched his fucking lights on. It's only taken about 16 matches
Oh,
and a load of shows.
what about that?
Oh, I tell
Forget
you,
the
man,
takeover.
you
What
are
about the
some
light?
man. Yeah, exactly. So, how are you feeling, lad?
brilliant.
It's been a crazy day. What's the story? Tell us about it.
I know it's mental, isn't it? I mean, I woke up this morning. I was just, I went to bed last night, and it literally was like feels like Christmas Eve. You wake up this morning, obviously you keep checking Twitter, keep refreshing Twitter, and then was it 5:30 tonight? It's Friday night, so I'm just like, I'm in shock. I certainly wasn't expecting,
We can hear that in your voice,
so,
mate. We can sense that.
Yeah. Just expecting it to happen so quick. Because I was expecting to hear something in sort of like, December, January.
Richie's lost it. He's no good. He's gone. But like, obviously,
you know why, Bart.
It obviously, like, from your perspective, you were watching Twitter and everything else today. Like, I text Daz. It was kind of about 5 o'clock before we got the announcement. Everybody, Twitter started to go into a bit of a meltdown. Why are we waiting?
Yeah.
We waited ages now for this. What's happening? And like, I actually texted a lad, I sent him a message. He texted me and he went, this isn't going to happen. It's going to fall apart now. And I actually lost patience. I went, will you just chill the fuck out? It's going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be here soon. And so, like, what was your view when everything was breaking on Twitter? Did you have a kind of a wobble at a point where you thought it's not going to happen, or were you, once it was kind of breaking, were you confident enough?
I was always confident. I was, watching Sky Sports News, and it was all positive. They're just waiting for the announcement to come. I mean, there was a few people suggesting that there's been a delay of some sort, but I mean, I didn't read too much into it, and thankfully we've got we've got new owners, which I'm just in shock. I can't believe we've actually got an owner now that cares and has ambition.
There he is.
Stewie.
Hello, guys.
Stewie. Positive pen, man. Positive Kieran. Positive pen, man.
Right,
Positive Kieran.
here's the first question for Penman. First game back against Spurs. What's the score going to be, kid?
What a stupid question. 3-1, of course.
Well, what's happening, fella? How the hell are you?
I'm on the podcast, and I'm in Dubai with some old friends. Not Dubai, Tenerife, with some old friends. So
you're overseeing.
Enjoying it. I've got my zebra on there.
Yes, mate.
Nice one. We love to see it. We love the
I need
zebra.
to get one of them, Stu. I need to get one.
So we just
You have to buy one, Pete.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. They're not free. Yeah, exactly. So just for those
expensive. They're not
from yesterday, Stu. Me and you
Yes,
were
mate.
texting. I dropped you a message yesterday evening around about.
Yeah, but I'm not going to wear them tonight. I promised you I wouldn't wear them.
Exactly, I know. I dropped you a message about 5 o'clock yesterday when things were kind of starting to tick, and I said to you, "Are we nearly there?" And you went, "It'll be done before 6 tomorrow." And
Correct.
you were absolutely bang on the money, fella. So I salute you and I applaud you 100%.
Thank you very much. Like I say to everyone, just enjoy it, man.
Yeah,
This is just like the early 90s all over again, and it's going to happen.
So
It's happening.
what's your
It's going to be
view?
better than that, Stu. It's going to be better than the early 90s.
No, I tell you what, on a serious note, right, I will try to be sensible, alcohol consumed, but I will try to be sensible. If we played with the old guard before this has happened today, then I think, even though I've always been positive, that would get relegated, because Steve Bruce writes off 12 games this season. We've played 7. One of those was the top 6, so we've played 6 if you work it out with what I'm saying. So if you take the 12, that leaves 26 games plus one's 27. Let's just say we'll get beaten off Leicester, one of them. It worked out we needed an average of nearly 2 points a game off the other teams that were beating us and were drawn with. We needed an average of 2 points a game to stay up. So it's happened at the right time, and everything happens for a reason, and we should all just be smiling. It's like New Year's Eve when you link hands and all acquaintance should be forgotten, everything else. All Lang Syne gets sung out. We're celebrating and we're happy.
We are, mate. Absolutely. So what do you think? Listen, again, we chatted yesterday. I think we all know Bruce is likely to get the boot very, very shortly.
Yeah, he is.
We'll get into a bit of a manager chat amongst the group shortly, because we've got a load of questions in the chat. People want us to talk about what's next, managers, everything else. So we'll kind of get that kick-started. What do you think the next 5-6 weeks is going to herald? We think Bruce will go. Who do you think is going to come in? Let's start the manager talk. Who's going to come in?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe, you think?
Yeah, because I believe from what I've just said before, they need to have someone who's going to steady the ship and give him a year plus 1 contract to keep him happy. And if he doesn't make it, then he gets paid off. If he does make it, then you've got a decision to keep with him or not. You need someone who knows the league, someone like Conte, who I'm sure you've been talking about. It's not going to attract him just yet because of our position. We need to follow the Man City model of just building and then getting better, build again, and we'll do it. We will do it. Absolutely. I'm just so happy from where we've been to where we are. Seriously, I'm just so happy. And all you guys have done a fantastic job. And Penman's predictions have normally been bang on, so 100% record on your channel, Martin.
It is 100% record.
Yeah, unfortunate the 3-1.
If you ignore the 3-1s.
Unfortunate the 3-1 though, Stu.
No, they're just side bets. They're not the real bets. They're side bets.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, in fairness, fella, come on, don't make me big you up anymore. You're gonna fucking embarrass me. Come on.
I nearly said something I shouldn't live on TV. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I should look.
no, but seriously, lads, you've all done an amazing job, and everyone's not going to agree all the time because life would be so boring if it was. You know, and yes, I have been more positive, and that's because I live in the region and I deal with Saudis all the time, and I know their mentality. And I'm not exaggerating. Minimum of 10 times a day, I speak to like wealthy Saudi business people, so I know their mentality, and I knew that. Show me the door, show me it's open, and then we'll tell you we'll come back in. But don't make a fool of us twice, and it was one of those.
Yeah.
And thankfully, things have got sorted out, and we are where we are now. You know, and I said to someone today, I think it was Mitch actually, who I think maybe coming on later. I said to Mitch, I went, this is just like when we win our first cup at Wembley. And we won't know what to do once we've done it. It's like, how do you celebrate?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want it for that long, what do you do?
Exactly. No,
that's exactly it.
We opened up, and to be fair, if you go back and watch the start of the show, between me, Richie, and probably certainly Pete, we've shed a few tears tonight earlier on because
no, fair play to you, lads.
It's a massive just the emotion and all of it. And in fairness, and I did say it during the show, in fairness to you, Steve Hasty, and Mitch, and Keith in particular, you guys have been there throughout. Not only
they've all been amazing.
Exactly.
I'll have to tell you a secret live on your show, so this is another breakaway.
Oh, here we go.
I had Keith Patterson in tears this morning, and I was just talking to him. And he was thanking me for being positive and keeping him positive. But he's done what none of us have done or could do, and he's done it. And we've got to where we are. So I was saying to him, listen, there'll be kids that aren't even born yet that will know your name. So don't think you're going to slip in obscurity as they claimed. And he was like, no, that's it. And bless him, he was weeping like a child. And I think all the emotion, all the drama, everything's just come out of it.
Yeah.
But if you take everything into consideration, the guy has put his money where his mouth is more than any of us have. Apart from the buyers, he's done it.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And I honestly, genuinely think, with the cat case as it was last week, it looked like to me that this is going to run.
Yeah.
And the Premier League have just said, right, let's get a compromise now. They've sorted out the being spots, rubbish, and it's done.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it was very quick.
But just start to think, what do the players feel like? Imagine St. Maximin, who was touted to leave. He signed his new contract. He was touted to leave. Imagine what they're going to be like with that shirt. They need to get bigger size shirts because the chest is going to be sticking out that much next week. Yeah, when they take the field against Tottenham. They'll all be taken, all be saying, right, we're now here to prove that we're worth the place in this team. Same players, different formation, different manager. And even if it's not a different manager, they might just leave the guy in charge. I forget his name now. That's what alcohol does to you.
Yeah. Let's not mention his name. It's kind of like Voldemort. Let's not mention his name.
The thing is, though, mate, right? And you know this as well as anyone, like I do, like Martin, there's like everyone else is watching this, right? That even if Steve that Spurs are going to come up against something. Spurs are going to come up against something extra next week. They're going to come up against the 12th man next week.
Yeah, I agree. They will come against the 12th man. We might still get beat because we've got a long way to go. But we've got what we've wanted, and now we have to learn, just like in anything in life, when you start something new, you take the baby steps, and then you start walking, then you start running. The worst thing we can do now is like go and buy these like prima donnas and put them into a team that's not patently not good enough for them. So the attitude, the dressing room gets split. And this is why I was quite warmed by Amanda's words earlier when she was asked about the same thing about breaking transfer records. She said, look, the team is most important. We need to build a team. And once we've got that, we'll get better. You know what I mean? 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, we'll win a trophy.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, exactly. But they're called Snickers now, though, Richie. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Snickers.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have to give Martin one daily. We always have to give Martin a Snickers. Such a diva.
Lad, but we'll do it. We'll do it. I'm going to have to hop off because there's too much traffic going past. But I couldn't not join
No,
you guys because, as I said earlier, you have all been brilliant. And I'll probably look back at this tomorrow and
You go
be
and enjoy
embarrassed about
yourself,
how
Dave.
I've come on. Oh, I'm enjoying it. Love yous all. Keep up the good
Go and
work.
enjoy it even more. Even more.
And I'll see you at Christmas. I'll be back at Christmas. And we'll watch us take on the two Manchester teams.
Top man.
Have a great night, lads.
Take care.
Cheers,
Thanks,
Stewie.
Stu. Have a good night.
Be good. Be good. Be good.
Cheers.
Lads, thanks, Stewie, for coming on. I think we're gonna bring on another guest, but I want to go then as soon as we bring on the new guest. I want to go back to Keith and let Keith speak as well. But first we have to bring on. We call him Takeover. We call him Justice. We call him a lot of things. Here's our boy George. Where'd he go?
He's there.
Hey, there he is. Right, Geordie. Welcome, mate.
Oh, he's fucking frozen already.
Oh,
Jesus
George,
Christ.
no.
He's there. He's there. No, he's
There,
back. He's
there.
back. Paper planes. Paper
Is he there?
planes.
Is he
paper
there?
plane.
He's gone again.
He's there. He's frozen.
We
He's
might
going
let
like
might
that.
let
He's going
George.
like that in the background.
I don't know what he's at there, but look, we'll let
exactly.
George sort his connection out, and we'll go to Keith. Keith, what you make of it all?
Lads, I just can't think. Last couple of hours and last day I haven't been able to think straight, really. It's just literally. I had it on TalkSport and I was listening to it live, and when it went through at 20 past, I celebrated it as if it was like goal at the Euros, exactly the same. Just couldn't believe it, just the opportunities that this presents. I mean, I think like a lot of people, I'm just trying to be level-headed about it, and just slow build like everybody says, and do it.
Keith, turn up your volume on your voice box, will you, pal? We can't hear you.
I just turned up there. Can you hear us now a bit better, lads?
No, we can.
Yeah,
no,
a little
we can.
bit.
Yeah.
Shout it out.
Yeah, so I was just saying I had it on TalkSport, listening to it live, and it was, I celebrated it like it was a goal at the Euros, when it went through. And at the minute, I'm just trying to keep it level-headed and almost think it like, when City were first taken over and they finished about mid-table, but they put some very good foundations in place that year in 2008-9. It took them about 3 years before they really started, like they were looking like they were winning something. And I think, anything similar, would just be fantastic, really. Because after, 14 and a half years, over 5,000 days, Mike Ashley's finally gone from our club. And that's all we want, really, and it's just quite incredible, really. And when you think about it, it's been over 4 years since Amanda Staveley first stepped foot into St James's Park at that Liverpool game, and it's finally gone through. And I just wanted to say as well, it echoes some of the other sentiments that have been on here. Much respect to you guys, all Unloaded Mag, and much respect to everybody on the NUFC Matters community stay here. Holly and Keith Patterson and Liam Kennedy for staying positive throughout this whole process, throughout all the ups and downs. Well done, guys.
Cheers, Keith.
Mate. We appreciate that.
Thanks a million. Let's go to George. George, can you hear us now?
Even George.
Can we hear you?
Sorry, lads. I had to move from the conservative to Wi-Fi shit.
Oh, look at you, conservatory, you big fucking snob.
It's
the person who's got a new bar in his back garden.
Yeah, I tell you what, if George had spent more money on tennis balls rather than the fucking conservatory, we would have got this quicker.
I'm still down, mate, but it's money well invested at the minute. It feels like.
Don't listen to him, George. Don't listen to him.
I'm messing. He knows I love him. He knows I love him.
Honestly, I couldn't give a shit. Honestly, nothing anybody could say could offend me now at all about anything, because you know what? I'd love everybody who supports Newcastle. I always have, and for the last 2 days, for the last 48 hours, I feel as if I haven't slept. I don't even know what to say. I can't articulate how I'm feeling. I'm just.
That must be bad, because you're probably the most intelligent person on this pod and have been for a while. Well, maybe Pete's in there. Pete's in there somewhere because, like, he's a teacher. Like, I'm fucking way down the list. So, like, you know, and Daz is like,
I just
he's proper second to me.
Overwhelmed. Just so many emotions, so many, like, the journey that we've been on. The talking to you, connecting with so many fans. Not just in the last 18 months, but in the last sort of 2 years. And when this very first up was, Keith, you said 4 years ago when Amanda Staveley first put a bid in, and following all of the other elements of other takeovers and seeing the shysters who try to get Derby as well and being invested in that. And now we've got it. Fuck. Richest club in the world. That's we've gone from Mike Ashley, who's a billionaire, to being the richest club in the world. And I don't want to get carried away, and I'm not going to get carried away. When we know we just want the training ground. We know we want a decent manager. We know we want to build those foundations. But we've just come off the back of 14 years of absolute shit. Now, can you imagine what the next 14 years are going to look like? I genuinely was in a place where I didn't think we'd ever win a cup competition. I'm tingling now thinking about the cup, the league, the fucking Champions League. We're going to have European nights again soon, lads. That's the reality of it. That is the reality of what we're looking at now. It's not an if, it's when. And fuck me.
5 to 10 years, George. 5 to 10 years.
Have you ever seen
Lads. No 5 to 10. We need to be going 3 to 5. I've not got that damn fucking left. I need to.
Have you ever seen a Milan?
We need to do something quicker than 5 to 10, lads. That's not happening.
Boys, if you look at what Man City have achieved in 12 years, right? They've achieved a lot. They've built their team. They've made it a monstrous club. Like they just are. But what they don't have, what they fail to have, is a fan base. We have everything set. Yeah. We have literally everything set to be the biggest club in the world. We do. And what makes you the biggest club in the world is having the best fans in the world. And yes, we're going to get a lot of new fans that support this club. But what they're going to come into is a fan base that is already fully committed to this club. So it's only going to make us bigger and better. We've got the stadium. Yes, it needs improvements. We've got the stadium. We've got the opportunity to get a brand new training ground. You know, we've got the pull. You've got to remember, under Mike Ashley, we were still pulling in good players that didn't stay very long, but were good, talented players that went on to play for good clubs elsewhere. So we've got the foundations there to really kick on. And Martin's right. I don't want to wait 10, 12 years, and I don't necessarily believe we will need to. I think at some point we're gonna really kind of ramp up the heat, and we're gonna start signing some big players and kicking on.
Lads, we're going to just make some room as well, just in case a few more people want to join. Keith, we're going to say goodbye to you. And Kieran, any last words you want to say before we say goodbye to you as well?
Just cheers for letting us come on. Really appreciate it.
Your debut unloaded, Kieran. We'll have you back on anytime as well.
Yeah.
Come back anytime.
Cheers,
and the same to all anyone that's come on here tonight. Always welcome. Cheers, lads. See you soon.
Love it.
Cheers, Kieran. It's curtains for Kieran.
Oh my God.
What's wrong with that? That's good.
Fine.
What's right with it?
George, what are you going to do with yourself now?
I'm just glad he came on. He was the most positive I've heard him.
No, fair play to Karen.
No, Martin,
George,
Sorry,
not on.
Richie. I'm sorry, Richie nearly lost it in the middle of that when I was having the crack earlier
That
on.
was class.
Oh,
I want to ask George a question.
Go on.
George, what are you going to do with yourself now?
He's going to meet me in Aston tomorrow and get some drinking.
I tell you what, I'm going to be meeting a lot more fans. Honestly, we're just, I don't know, enjoying the games, enjoying the football, having a crack, thinking about just football and not about all this shit. But just on what Pete said there about the fan base, 33,000 at the Cat. 33,000 at the Cat. How many are there tonight at St James's Park?
Well, the police did put out a thing to say, please, no more fans come down. Like, that's going to be totally ignored, and the police are screwed. So, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to stop people coming down.
From the pictures and the videos, it looks even more like it looks more than 15,000 now.
Oh, so I'd say there's probably close on 30,000 there now, Pete. I'm watching the pictures on Sky. They're still outside dancing.
The fact that the police put the thing out is probably encouraged even more fans to turn up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's normally what happens with this. You know what I mean? So, like, no other fan base would have that.
Please don't do this. Yeah, no, I'm definitely doing that. That's like a Father Ted moment when they're on the plane. He says, "Don't push the button." Like, that's just like, well, push the button. That's definitely going to happen. But I think one of the things we need to say about George, right? And Daz, maybe you'll back me up on this. We kind of got you on the show a good while back. You put out initially a thread a long while ago. And to be fair, I didn't have a clue what you were talking about, but it sounded good, and we thought it would make for real good viewing. And we got you on. And to be fair to you, you were.
Who spotted George?
Richie did.
Chris did.
It was me.
No.
You know what it is?
I actually met George. That's the only thing I've got. I met George. I didn't spot him. I met him.
Chris
George will confirm.
To be fair to Chris, it's about the only thing that he's actually done that's been any good on these shows.
He did the quiz. Exactly. Do the quiz.
Hang on. What about the vocals for the Zebra? Come on.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, mine are there tonight.
Biggest
hit. Mark's took over that.
But yeah, we got you on, and you came on the show, and you went through the thread, and I said to you on the night when we went through it, I really enjoyed it because you laid it out in layman's term for thick people like me who didn't really have a clue what was going on with arbitration, cats, all the other stuff that was going on and where we were going with the legals and everything else. And I think we owe you a massive amount of credit. And I think you don't get enough credit, and you haven't had enough credit for where you've actually pushed things to over the last few weeks. So I would just like to say to you, it's been a pleasure having you on the show the multiple times we have. You did up till yesterday. You kind of held one of the records for the most viewed shows. That's gone now. You actually look quite piss poor against Ben's show last night. But, you were there for a while, which is something to be proud of. But, you came on. You took us through stuff. And listen, we're massively appreciative of the amount of times you've been on, how you've taken us through this journey, and we hope that you will be a long-time friend of Loaded and come on whenever we can get you on. So thank you very much, sir. You have been amazing in this journey.
Thank you, George. In response to that, really, thank you very much. But I mean, you lads are the only podcast that I listen to, and I've said it before, and it was because you've reached out, because you listen because I've seen what you've done, not just in the football stuff, but on the music, and it sort of clearly, I think you are the hardest working pod out there as well. You do so much, you bring so many in. Look at the guests that you've had on, and I mean, I'm not talking about me. I'm just a fan who sort of was trying to make sense of the situation for me. No, but that's what I mean. You've come at it with like a kind of, let's listen to everybody, let's hear what everybody's got to say. So like bringing Ben Jacobs on, and I know he's got the record to twat. But you don't see him retweeting loaded tweets, do you? No, you don't.
No, he did send me a very nice message. So
rivalry.
He's honestly he's been really balanced throughout, and I think that's part of the differentiation that you brought people on to listen to them and sort of get under what they've been saying and why they've been saying. And exactly with me, because that's all I was doing. I was just setting out in my head what I thought was happening and how it stacked up in terms of what I can see and where we were on the journey and what might come down the track. And it was a bit of guesswork, and there was a fair bit of research in it, and we did that with some of the cat stuff and the addendums that we did to it, and the amount of legal stuff. Fuck me. But then look at Keith and getting shout outs from Nick DeMarco, and I mean they're the people who put like the serious grind in and move things on forward, and I just feel privileged to have been part of that. And like I say, you have been fantastic throughout, and just the crack as well. I mean, it's all brilliant, isn't it?
We're happy. We are amazing.
George,
so
that's exactly what I wanted to hear, George. So goodbye, George.
Yeah, bye-bye, George. See you later, mate.
Nah, that was for all time's sake, George.
Right, Daz. We've got another lad sitting in the green room. We better bring him on.
George, thank you, mate.
A new face to our screens. Let's welcome Quasm. Hey, mate, welcome.
Hi, Quasm.
Hi, thank you. How are you guys?
Very good.
I'm not going to be long. I'm not going to be long, guys. I just want to say congratulations to Newcastle fans. I think you deserve it, guys. It's been a long time for, with Mike Ashley and stuff. I'm originally Arab. I'm from United Arab Emirates, but I know obviously Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and I think he's guys. You won the lottery, so I think he's gonna look after Newcastle City and Newcastle Football Club, and I predict Newcastle by next year to be top 4 because that's how much he's got money.
Really?
I think he's gonna invest a lot of money in the club, and you need to understand about the Saudi and the Arab in particular. They don't hold back if they're gonna invest massively in the club. So guys, you deserve it. I just want to say congratulations. I'm a Chelsea fan, by the way, but I think Newcastle deserve it. Really.
What a guy.
Yeah. I just want to say Newcastle deserve it, guys. I'm neutral,
Quasm, is there any chance of you actually converting NUFC? Because if you can speak like that every week, you can come on every week.
Look, I live in Yorkshire, and my son he plays for Hull City. My son, he's 12 years old. And he plays Newcastle all the time. I went a few times to Newcastle. He plays Newcastle Academy. Well, obviously, after the taking over, I think Newcastle, the Prince is going to invest in facility for the academies and stuff. So Newcastle is going to be something else, So I just, I came quickly to say congratulations, guys. And I think you're going to be big charger for City and Chelsea, I think, in future, guys. 100%. That's what I wanted to say.
We're coming for you. We're coming for you, Quasm. We're coming for Chelsea.
Hey, I don't mind Newcastle. I don't mind Newcastle.
Qasim, we'll have to get you on again when we play Chelsea in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get him on the show. Absolutely.
So I just wanted to say something, my guy, quickly. I've got my own YouTube channel. I'm a panelist for the Blue Lounge, which is a big channel for Chelsea. And I go sometime in Terry. The football terrace. I go to Terry sometime.
Okay.
So,
okay. Well, listen, don't be afraid to invite us on as well.
No, 100%. As I tell you, Newcastle people sweet me. I don't mind Newcastle people. I don't like Manchester United. But I don't mind Newcastle. So I do it. And on the chat, come on.
I was going to say, at the end of the month, will you join Pete for our away day show for when Chelsea play Newcastle at St James's, along with Pete? Me and Mark have already got you a guest with Tom Lumley at Brave Liaison, who have said he'll come on the show with you, mate.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you a question, guys. Do you think Steve Bruce gonna go straight away, or what do you think?
Yeah.
If he fucking doesn't, then I'm out. I'll be supporting Chelsea. If he's not gone, I'm supporting Chelsea.
Okay. Quasm, can I ask you a question? Because obviously you've got first-hand experience. We've first-hand experience, right? Of who's available. I'm not talking about looking at managers who are at other clubs. who is available, I'd be looking at, and I think a few of the other lads have mentioned as well. We'd be looking at Antonio Conte. You've got first-hand experience with Antonio Conte. What do you make of him as, a manager? You've had experience with your club. Do you think he was harshly treated? Would you think he'd be a good manager for Newcastle going forward?
Listen, first of all, Conte is a winner. When he comes in, straight away, obviously, he's going to get the support from the club, which is a prince, and he's a winner. Straight away, trophies. That's why I don't think Newcastle will struggle, because financially they got the money and they can afford to get a top manager, and straight away they'll be up and running. There is no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. You need to understand something as well, my guy, and it's not politics, and I'm not being racist or anything. The Arabs is different from the American. The Arab invests money. You get my point? It's not like Man United, the American, or Liverpool. The Arabs bought money in the club. And that's why when Conte says, I need X, Y, and Z, the owner straight away is going to do it, and Newcastle is going to be there straight away.
Because I've got to actually hold my hands up and agree with you there, because you look at some of the takeovers that have gone through with stuff like Crystal Palace and Burnley, who've been taken over by American owners in recent months and years, who are, they've remortgaged the club, so to speak. Whereas, we've seen how, obviously Dubai have gone in with Man City, how Qatar have gone with PSG. With Saudi coming with Newcastle, it's not going to be that sort of takeover. It's not going to be, we're going to be mortgaged to the hilt. We're not going to be borrowing money from here, left, right, and centre. As long as we do it the right way, which I believe this consortium will do, because they've got the vested interest in not just the club, the fan base. They've invested into not just like the team, the city, the area. I believe this. Hands up. I've hated Mike Ashley for the last 14 years, but he did promise that he would pass us on to a consortium or whoever that would take us to the next level and was best for Newcastle United. And hands up, that's exactly what he's done.
But can I just say something? You need the likes, the Arabs, the Prince and Sheikh. You need the ambition. They like to win trophy very quickly in any cost. So that's what I'm trying to say. The different people, they don't care about money. If Conte or Zidane come to Newcastle and he need a player for 100 million, we give him the 100 million. 100 million is like 100 quid. That's what I'm saying. The American is different. American is business, isn't it? To them, it's business. The Arab is pleasure and competition, because you just like the PSG from Qatar is competing with Sheikh Mansour from Man City, from Abu Dhabi, and I'm pretty sure that Saudi Arabia don't. And when you talk about politics, Saudi Arabia don't like Qatar, so they be in competition. Newcastle be in competition with PSG soon. Trust my word, I know that for a fact. So what I'm trying to say is, this Prince and Sheikh, the ambition is gonna tell the manager, just go get it, go do it. It doesn't really matter how much it costs, go do it. And that's why I'm seeing Newcastle in no time, top 4 and trophies. I can see that 100%. And well done, guys. And I think you waited patiently for a long time, and I think, guys, you deserve it. And you've got the stadium as well. I mean, Newcastle is a big city. You go the stadium, you go the heritage as well. It's not like Newcastle, a small club. I think Newcastle historically is a big club. Stadium, and worldwide is just gonna increase. And you got a good future to look up for, guys. That's what I wanted to say, and thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that.
Well, we're delighted to have you on, Quazin. Thanks a million for
joining. No worries, mate. Thanks for joining.
Opposition fans congratulating as well. Thanks a million. Quazin, we will be in touch, and make sure you follow us on Twitter, and each of us, and we'll link up again soon.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Thanks, Quazin. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, mate.
Before I go, I'm gonna put my Twitter in the chat, guys, and if you wanna follow me, I'll follow you guys back. And
we'll
keep good friends.
Cheers, Quazin.
Yeah, if Chelsea come against Newcastle, I can get you on my channel, guys.
No worries,
Yeah,
pal.
Oh my,
You'll
it's
be
all
on.
right.
You
Thanks
can come
very
back
much,
on here
mate.
as well, Quasm.
Cheers, mate.
Take
All right,
care.
mate. Good
Yeah,
luck.
have a good night.
Cheers,
Good luck.
pal.
Bye-bye.
You too, mate. Have a good night.
See you later.
Take
Cheers,
care.
mate.
No, lads, that Quasm was brilliant.
He was
Nice
spot
to
on.
have
Play to him.
opposition
Spot
fans.
on.
Yeah.
I want to
100%
introduce
sure they
someone.
want to see him, but there you go.
I want to just introduce someone who not only has been with us from Loaded
Day
Mad,
one.
but has been with us from the very start.
Very
Who
start.
stuck with us. Even, I remember him in the Matter shop before we ever had a channel as well. And I know when I get over to Newcastle, I'm going to have a pint with this man. And I've
I'll
seen
be
him
with
on
you.
other shows, but here he is, Dave Harrison. Welcome, Dave.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
We're not worthy. We're not
All
worthy.
good.
We're
all
not
good.
No, no.
worthy. We're not worthy.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So I've been out all day. Anything happened? I mean, I've not.
You haven't heard the news, so
No,
No, now
it's been quiet, mate. It's been quiet.
It has. So, I guess I'm like you guys. I'm absolutely buzzing. It was funny before. I was flitting off and on Sky Sports. I guess you guys were doing the same, and I had Twitter was going wild, and I put Sky Sports on, and the presenter, I hope it's on names. You just said, "Oh well, next up." Oh, hang on. We're going on. I thought, "Oh yeah, we'll get." And then of course, when it came up, I screamed, and my wife was doing some teeth. She says, "What? You're right. You're right. Oh, yeah, fine. It's gone through." And I mean, I'm 70 soon, and I'll tell you what it is. I was tears in my eyes. I couldn't speak. I was just so made up. It's been a long time coming, lads, but here we are. It's absolutely fantastic.
Buzzing, mate. Absolutely buzzing.
Oh, it sure is.
I mean, I think there was somebody on Twitter at one point that this morning said it's the wait that gets you, and I thought, well, we've been waiting 14 years, another few hours won't matter, But it was just, I think with when it went wrong last year, we're thinking, here we go, any minute now they're going to say, oh, actually, lads, it's off, and that would have been devastating. But no, not this time. I think that the way people were talking last night, I think it was pretty obvious it was about to go ahead. And then when you had some of our favourite commentators like Richard Keys and whatever saying it looked like it's going ahead, well, if he reckons it's going ahead, well, it's an absolute knocking back, So, but
yeah, we said on the show last night, Dave. As soon as you have people like Luke Edwards, Simon Jordan, you have, as you said, Richard Keys commenting. It was a different kettle of fish, and it wasn't like it's been for the last 18 months.
Yeah.
And I've had various different friends. I know the rest of the lads have had various different friends have been saying, "Are you sure it's going to happen today? Are you sure it's going to happen today?" And we've been saying, "Look, we've been told privately 6 o'clock, but it could be slightly earlier."
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, 5:15 came, and that magnificent, announcement on Sky, which everybody's been waiting for years.
4 years for that, and
not
14 to get rid of him.
Even longer than that, if you think about it, we go back to when he tried to sell the club back in the 2008, 2009. When he already realised the fan base was against him.
Yeah,
that this takeover's been on the verge for the last 12 years since he's realised he's not been part of this club. And that fruition to come today for this fan base, it's just the feeling. It's really, really hard to explain what this feeling's like. I was emotional before. I've been over the moon tonight as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really hard to put in words.
It is.
How important today is for this club.
Yeah.
How important do you think this day is, Dave?
Well, I think for somebody like me, and there's lots of people of my age who have, I started going. My late uncle took me in the '69 season, and I wasn't at the first club final, but I mean, I was there, for the later games. I went to 2 or 3, but then in sort of the 73, 74 season, I got married. I got a season ticket out, and I've never missed. So we've been so close so many times, the likes of Keegan and Warren Robson, getting up there and just missing out. That terrible year when we're 12 points in the lead, and then Man United quarter, which was devastating. You ought to think nothing's going to happen. We're never going to get get anywhere and get any sort of success. And then Ashley comes in, and you think, well, the guy's going to run when if he puts the right people in place, we could do something. And then, of course, he goes and gets Dennis Wise, and you think, oh, God. And, of course, it all went to hell in a handcart after that. And I was getting to the point a couple of years ago, jacked it in, had enough, couldn't take it anymore. So from my point of view, at 70, I want nothing better now. And I think it's so important that with the backing they've got. Yes, the money's nice, but I think it's the things like Amanda Stabley said tonight. We want to do this, want to do that, want to win a cup. But it's a slow build, and we're not going to suddenly go out and spend £1 billion on players in January. We're going to do it slowly but surely, and then obviously look to win cups and that. And once that first bit of silverware's in, which I'm pretty certain will happen in the next 2 or 3 years, at least in my lifetime, I'll get a bit of, glory from supporting them for all these years. But I think the more important thing for me is like my young grandson Xander, who I love to bits. I've got 4 grandkids, 3 daughters, 1 grandson, and I bought Xander Newcastle tops. He doesn't wear them. He wears Barcelona and stuff like that because, well, granted, they're the ones that win, not so Barca these days, but. And I want him to get the same feeling that I got. And it's like, I always forget, I don't even remember, Bobby Robson saying about walking up the stairs, you're holding your dad's hand or whoever, and you see the grass and you can't help but fall in love. I want to do that with him. I want to take him to say, look, this is the team that we've got now, and we're going to start winning things. And I want him to have that glory of watching a team that we all want to see, competing. We've said so many times we don't want a team that wins, we want a team that tries. And I think that important thing now with what Amanda said and the others have said, that we are going to have a team that's going to try, and that'll do for me for the next couple of years, and then take it from there.
Do you know what, Dave? You're absolutely right, mate. For me, and it kind of epitomizes what you've just said, it's the hope. Do you know what? Genuinely, I don't mind if in the next 10 games we lose 6 of them, because we know better times around the corner. We know we've got owners who care. We've got people who want to take us forward. We've got people who feel the same way about the club as we do. They want us to succeed. We want to succeed. And do you know what? It's not going to be an overnight thing. We're not just going to all of a sudden start winning games willy-nilly. Not going to happen. But we're now, the best way I can describe it, and I relate this into work as well, we're now on a different ladder. So sometimes in work or in life, you end up being on a ladder and you reach the top of that ladder and you've got nowhere to go. The only way you can go is down. And unfortunately, under Ashley, we've reached the top of that ladder and all we were doing is slowly dropping down. That was it. Now we're on this huge ladder. We can go as far as we want. Go on.
Chris, do you work as a window cleaner as well? All the stuff on ladders.
Honestly, though, if you think about it, you've reached the top. You can't go any further. I mean, don't get me wrong. Under Ashley, the top was pretty fucking low, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but
it was.
What I mean is, we couldn't get any higher. But now we're on this. Like, I can't even see the top of this ladder where we are. We can be wherever we want to be. We can go wherever we want to go, and that's why we're all so excited. That's why we're buzzing.
We are. And I think the other thing is on the back of what you just said there, Chris, that that ladder had rungs cut out, so you get comments like, we don't want to concentrate on the cups because we need to concentrate on the league. And it was all about just staying in the league, getting these 125 million quid backhander every year for the TV money, and then not investing. The shocking thing I got yesterday was when Sky Sports put a thing up of his reign, and I can't remember the numbers, but it was something like 360 odd million pound he spent on players, and we got whatever it was, 200 and again, pardon me, I can't remember the numbers.
Dave,
and
it was less than 10 million a year, mate.
Yes, you took the words out of my mouth. It was less than 10 million pound a year, and he said, "Oh, I've invested in the club." Well, I'm sorry, fella, you haven't. You've not invested in the club because if you know, if you take out or add all the money that he's got in for the TV money and stuff like that, he's probably made the thick end of £750 million out of this club, and he hasn't invested it. And he what was he said a year ago? Every penny, I'll give you every penny you make. Well, didn't happen. Now, I'm not expecting Mbappe and whoever.
I am.
Well, okay. Fair enough, Martin. But whoever. But at least now it's that thing. We'll be able to compete now.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be thinking, here we go, rinse and repeat. 17th is all what ambitions are. Where ambitions are now much higher. And if we can finish, 10, 12, 13th, whatever this year, which, I think is probably going to be good enough, and then push on from there, so.
Dave, if we manage to stay up this season, which I hope we do, but if we manage to stay up this season, just imagine what our summer's going to be like. Our summer is just going to be unreal. That's when we're going to see some real housekeeping. I expect in January, I think we're going to make 2 or 3 key signings. We're going to go on to some questions a bit later on that some of the viewers have been putting in, and obviously us lads are going to talk about it in more detail. But for me, I think it's a bit of a patch-up job this season. We've obviously not made a great start to the season.
Exactly.
We're going to get a new manager in. We're going to have to, shore up a few holes that we've got in the squad at the moment. But just imagine in the summer with a proper manager, proper owners, and a vision. It's going to be unbelievable.
To be honest, Chris, we only need about 16 or 17 players, so I mean, it's not like we're going to.
It should be handy enough, exactly.
Dad, out of curiosity, Dad, did you actually upload that picture I sent you earlier on in regards to the net spend?
No, Richie, I was editing videos and picking up pictures.
No,
and
that's
trying to hear what happened.
So Daz,
that's fine. Just to go actually over it, because it's actually quite relevant to what Dave actually mentioned. But over the whole of the duration of Mike Ashley's reign, as I've been part of, the Newcastle owner, he spent on £486.4 million on transfers, but he received 356.6 million. So we had a net spend of 120 odd million over 14 years.
Disgusting.
Now, to me, I believe over the next 2 transfer windows that this consortium will spend that within 2 transfer windows. I don't know what you guys think.
I do.
Yeah.
More.
I'm not expecting too much, to be honest. Daz,
spend that in one transfer window.
Yeah,
Well, that's why I said two, Pete. Now with the summer.
Right, we've got a few more lads have dropped on. Daz, we've got a video. We've got a couple of videos there in the boot room that you live in. Holly was managed to get not only a snuggle but a little bit of a kiss off of Amanda earlier on. Do we want to? What have we got? Can we put something up that we've got from people earlier on?
I have that, Mark. Yeah, I have a video here. Now, you might have seen a clip on Sky Sports, but this is
the original
Holly's own video, or Holly's friends video. So it shows extra that you wouldn't have seen on TV. So thanks to Holly for
and Holly was going to drop on tonight, but she's at home. She's at home, pissed out of her head on Newcastle Brownhill.
Mark, she's in the strawberry now.
She's out the back dancing on the table.
Remind everyone,
Brownhill.
16.
Here's the video in there, lads. Let's go give it a watch.
Mandy!
Amanda!
Hey! We love you! We love you, Mandy!
Amanda! Amanda, I tell what, Holly.
Hi, Amanda. Nice to meet you.
Can I just say, guys,
give us a kiss.
I've
It's
seen you
one of the
many
things
times.
that brings tears to your eyes when you watch it.
Support.
Thanks
Thank you
for your
very
commitment,
much.
Amanda.
Oh no, well, it was all about you guys now. It's
No,
all about you.
No, it's all about you now.
It's
We
not.
need you now. We need to turn this 14 years around now.
Up this way first. Get away there first. That's great. Thank you.
Wave this camera up here,
please, Amanda.
Amanda,
will
success follow this takeover? I hope it's been a long time coming, but yeah, absolutely. That's obviously that's top of our agenda.
Can you just give us a snapshot of some of the plans, Amanda?
Well, I think we just arrived here. I just probably need to get myself inside, but I'm going to talk to you all about the plans and everything else. We've taken us 4 years to get here today. I know everybody's got a lot of questions about managers and players and things, but right now we just want to get inside, get there and do a review of the business, and we're going to let you all know the plans. But we're here to invest. We are patient. We are, the PIF is an autonomous, commercially driven investment fund, and with Jamie Rubin, we're here to make sure that we try to become the best custodians of this club we can be. You're the best fans, greatest fans in the world. You deserve somebody.
Amanda. Thank you, Amanda.
Class. Absolute
Yes,
class.
Paul. We love you, Paul.
Was mine the only one that was kind of
One of
jumping
our own.
around there? Was it?
There might have been a few chubbies there.
Was it?
No, it was.
I mean, boys.
No, lads, let's
That
get
just
straight
went
into
quiet, that didn't it?
Mine was jumping around all over the place. It was like, and anyway, we'd like to agenda's this and Steve Bruce out. But I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Mine was fine. It must be headphones, mate.
I'd say it's probably shite broadband in Ireland. Anyway,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Daz. Who else have we got on now? Let's get some more views
No,
and
mine's
stuff.
fine.
Room is full.
Richard, let's talk to Richard first, because Richard was full first on,
and he's been up for hours,
gentlemen.
apparently.
I think I'm just reiterating everything you boys have said to a certain degree. I think anybody who thinks we're going to come in and we're going to start spending 200-400 million pounds on players in the January transfer market is bonkers. That's not going to happen.
It's true.
We need to build slowly, responsibly. We need to be smart with who we bring in. We need to bring in, I know, like mid-tier players with young, with growth, like your Lingards and like your Van der Beeks, your young players now who aren't getting the opportunities potentially at their clubs.
Yeah.
We need to bring them in while they're young, under good management, okay? Because the manager, for me, is key more than anything else for the club. I feel like under a good management, you can work with the players that we have in the team, even though they're not quite at the caliber we want them yet, and we can slowly build and grow the team, like to say the Man City's did and the Liverpool's did under Klopp. He wasn't given a lot of money initially to work with. He wasn't, but he did what he did with what he was given. He did a fucking great job. And I think for us, it's integral that we don't get greedy and start dreaming of Mbappe right now and Neymar, okay, and Messi. It's not realistic as a Newcastle fan. Fucking don't get me wrong, I love it. But wouldn't we all? Klopp tomorrow, Messi tomorrow, brilliant. It's not realistic. We need to think about growing and building over the next couple of years solidly, starting to move up that table, starting to give us faith and belief as Newcastle fans again, without basically, all this hype right now. It needs to be done smartly. And I think Amanda Staveley was bang on earlier with her comments saying, they've got the money behind them. We have that now. We're the richest club in the world. Yes, boys. Yes. But they're also not going to be throwing head and tongue at it. They're going to be doing this smartly. And you said there's a lot of people involved now, not one idiot or two idiots. There's a lot of very smart business people involved now, and they're going to make the right business decisions for our club going forward. And I think that's integral, and that's key over the next couple of months as it unveils for us to follow and see how they're doing as a consortium, as a group, to see what their plans are for us. But I can only feel positive, boys, going forward. And I mean, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the club grow from strength to strength, gentlemen.
So
I'm gonna let the lads have a chat. Thank you very much for having me on.
Dave, nice one.
See you soon.
Everybody.
We'll talk to you soon.
See you later.
Richard, just going on from,
Take care.
Richard, just going on from what you just mentioned there about obviously running before you can walk, so to speak, right?
I was just going to say, Richard, who do you want to sign?
Well, no. It's funny you should say that, because this is a bit of a prolonged question. This is to all four. It's to Richard, to Jeff, to Mike, and to Adam. Now, like we heard
Alex Hurst mentioned last night about potential people who are out of contract at the end of the season. We know there's going to be a transfer budget, not necessarily just in January, but at the end of the season. I'm presuming, and I think we'd probably all agree that we probably won't be in the bottom three when the end of the season comes.
Well, I hope not.
Who would you realistically target? Now, I don't believe we can get this person, but because of this person's buyout clause, I would like to see if our hat was in the ring, and that's Haaland. I don't believe he'll come to Newcastle.
Richie, come on now.
Lad, seriously.
Richie,
I don't believe, no, lad, seriously.
Richie.
Apologies.
Richie's gone.
We've had to take him off.
That's it. One bottle of brown has gone to his head. He's talking Haaland and get out. Bring him back on. I think he's right. We should be going for Haaland.
No, do you know what?
No,
I mean, we're the richest club in the world, boys.
He just carried straight on.
Richest club in the world.
The reason why I mentioned this, right, and it's not because I'm being delusional, right? It's because he's got a buyout clause of 65 million next summer, which would be in our ballpark figure of what we'll probably be looking at as a budget.
But then Mbappe's on free next year.
I don't believe we'll get him, but I'd be interested to see whether anybody else thought our hat would be in the ring for him.
I'd take Richard's point. Mbappe's on a free next season.
Yeah, but we know he's going to Real Madrid, Mart.
But
money speaks, money talks.
In the Premier League.
It's like Richard, I had this conversation with my son this morning, right? And I said money talks. My youngest turned around and said to me, and it can go back to when Alan Shearer signed for Newcastle. He signed for Newcastle because he was in love with that club. He could have went to Man United and went and got trophies galore. No, Mbappe, he loves Real Madrid. He grew up watching Ronaldo at Real Madrid, and he wants to play for Real Madrid. So I believe he will go to Real Madrid. It doesn't matter about money on this one. He might come to Newcastle after we overtake Real Madrid in 5 or 10 years. But I don't believe he would be coming to Newcastle in the summer. But I'd like to see where that investment possibly comes. Would our hat be in the ring in the summer at a 65 million valuation to build a club around Haaland? I don't think it will, but I'd be interested to see what you guys think and whether the consortium believe that they could sell the club to Haaland to build a club around him and say ASM.
I think it'd be a big pipe dream, wouldn't it? Having one big player and focusing all around them like a few have done. I just feel that the draw for him potentially wouldn't be. Sadly, I mean, like I said, I reckon best fan base in the world. Don't care what anyone says. I think now we've got the best financiers in the world. Yet I'm just thinking the draw, the Champions League football they will want big competition football, these big players. And right now, not this year, maybe next year, we haven't got that to draw. We haven't got that for the big players to come right now. I think give us 18 months, we'll be talking about completely different targets for our team. I just think right now we need to be realistic and focus on your Lingards, your Van der Beeks, maybe even stealing a little cheeky Stern or somebody, a couple of decent players that are okay, semi-world class, that can build us to a level in 12 months when then we can go out and get Mbappe, Haaland, whoever we want, because we can then. But I think right now we just don't need to be too dreamy.
Absolutely. And we have a few, like Owen's just come in the chat and gone, delusional. Simon Davis says we're dreaming. And then he's gone, yeah, absolutely spot on. Now, I was chatting to the lads beforehand, Richard, and I've been on a couple of Man U podcasts this season. And a pal of mine who runs it, Keane, who's based over here in Ireland. We were chatting earlier on. As soon as the takeover broke, he sent me a message and he said, do you know what? I'm delighted for you lads. And I texted him back and I said, you lads are shite now. We're coming for you. Obviously, as you would, being nice and polite and everything else. And then I asked him how much he wanted for Ronaldo. But in all joking and all sense, one of the things he said to me was, lads, in January, you need to be coming after Donny van Beek because he's never going to get a game with Ollie. And he would do an amazing job for Newcastle. And he's 100% right. And I agree with you fully. We need to be looking at some proven players or players that are not getting games who have that bit of bite and have that determination to put on a black and white shirt and go, I want this deal. I want to be at this club and I want to win.
Dare
That's
I
what we
even
need.
say it? Dare I say it? Kane, he wants to win. He wants to be successful. He wants to score more goals and become the all-time top goal scorer. Is it crazy enough to think? I know he's getting on, but for a couple of seasons to help us grow to get where we want, would it be a bad shout to get Harry Kane? He's clearly depressed where he is right now at Tottenham. Would that be a bad shout?
No.
Do you know what, boys? I've said this for a while. I've said for a while. For me, it's about looking at like the next 2 years, maybe 3 years, and I'd be looking at clubs in and around us, and I'd be stealing their best players. So I'd be looking at Leeds. I'd be looking at Rafinha. I'd be looking at Calvin Phillips. I'd be looking at Leicester. I'd be going, yeah, we'll have a bit of James Maddison. We'll have what's the lad from centre back?
Tielemans.
Lamptey at Brighton. Tielemans. I'd be going for clubs like that because as soon as Newcastle come in with a bid, they're going to be looking over at us and thinking, "Fucking hell, they're going places." Sorry, boys, I want to go. And I think that's
we
what
can
we
even
need to do.
raid Arsenal if we want right now. A cheeky
We
little
could.
Smith Moore and Saka. That would be a cheeky
Smith
little.
Rowe, I tell you what, Smith Rowe, I would take him in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Can I just say, I think Richard's quite good with a shout with Saka there because he grew up as a Newcastle fan.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll tell you
young
what,
talent.
Rich. I'll tell you what, mate. When I was talking before about Leeds, like I've been obviously
all
watching
day
Leeds
long,
a lot this
him and
season.
Rafinha.
Mate, mad Rafinha. Imagine Rafinha on the right and Saints on the left, mate.
Imagine Shelby in the
just
middle.
be-
Oh, fuck. Richie's had Richard's had a bit of a talk. Jeff, we've got Jeff, we've got Mike, we've got Jeff, welcome, my friend.
Hello. Well,
How
I
are
thought
you,
I'd
mate?
come on during the international break because not much will be happening. But I think cart before horse we got here. We need to get a manager sorted.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, Jeff.
Good point.
His style of play, who he can attract, you know, whether we get Conte, Poch, doesn't really matter. I think Poch is younger. Might be a way to go. But I'd also like to say the reason this has happened is because of the fans, right? It's because of people like Holly and you guys and the great Sir Keith, who shortly to become a saint.
Fuck's sake, don't make his head any bigger than it already is, lad.
But what's been interesting is that I'm one of those fans who represents, you know, almost the majority who don't go to matches. My experience in Newcastle is watching it on a dodgy link or listening to it on the radio. And it's been really interesting because COVID's been a great leveler. We've all been in it together here, experiencing football from the outside. And I'd like to thank everybody for, you know, letting us other types of fans join in.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. Like we love having yous on. Like we absolutely love everyone. Like, you know, watching us every week, and we really appreciate it. So to have the fans on this moment and be able to share this with all different fans has just been incredible. Like we absolutely love it. And do you know what? We are exactly the same as you. Like all we did was we all joined the NUFC Matters podcast. We all got together, and then Daz and Martin said one day, why don't we do our own? Why don't we offer the content that we want to and be able to, you know, kind of do our own thing? And that's exactly what we've done. But we are exactly the same as yous, and we are all as equally as happy as yous. And it's an absolute pleasure, honestly, to have you all on. Like we're absolutely loving it. Like I could do this till about 3 a.m. I'd happily stay on.
I've got work, so I can't do that.
I
But,
just
I
have.
Yeah,
so do I.
I think that's a massively good point.
Chris, I'm up till 4:30 watching the Seahawks in the morning, so I'll keep on going till 4:30.
Yeah, we
mate.
can keep going. Yeah, I'd be going to bed.
You just want company, Rich. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. That's all he does want.
Watching
exactly.
your Haaland
But
videos.
I think
on
that's a
repeat.
good point. I mean, like we, you know, like, and I've made this joke and I've put this out on tweets plenty times, and we've spoken about this on the show. Like we broke off from NUFC Matters. We still got great links. We still, you know, Daz and the boys do match day lives. But like, we're just 5 lads with kids, wives, jobs, home, work, life pressures. But we do this because the 5 of us love being together. We get on really well. But we've got one love, which is Newcastle United. And we've been lucky enough to, put some money behind this platform. I was looking tonight and chatting with the lads before the show. We've nearly broke 900 subs. We've been going about 5-6 months. Daz put some stats up to us last night. We're the fastest growing Newcastle United channel that is out there. The fastest growing.
That's fact.
And that's fact. That is fact. We will keep doing and putting up content. We set ourselves a goal and we said we want to try and smash 1,000 subs by Christmas. If this keeps going the way it's going, we gained over 100 subs yesterday. We will smash 1,000 subs by the end of the weekend. If we can get to that, it's massive for us. We're just 5 dads who do our thing. But without you lads, without the guys that come on the shows, without people who interact, without people who put up comments, be them bad, good, indifferent, or other, we wouldn't actually be a channel. And as Dad's put up there, get us to 1,000 subs. Go on to YouTube, youtube.com/Steve/loaded HQ. It's absolutely free. And we do this for the crack. We don't get paid. We come together on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or a Friday night just because we love talking about the club. Obviously, the takeover has been massive. Pete Graves is on Sky there tonight. It's a surreal situation. But without the rest of you, without Mike, without Richard, without Jeff, Adam, Al Waleed, all those guys that have come on tonight, everybody that's been on all of these shows over the last 10 months, we would be absolutely nothing without you. And I think one of the big things with a lot of shows is they don't actually give out enough shouts and enough respect to the people that come on and that contribute. But we're a little bit different. We love having people on because it gives us an opportunity to talk, discuss, agree, disagree, and that's what helps us grow. So we are absolutely delighted to have you guys on. Mike, welcome. You've been in the chat for many, many weeks. Come on, how are you feeling, buddy? What's the story? What do you think about tonight? Are you still dreaming, or is it a big dream? What's happening?
Oh, what can I say, man? We're going to be the most hated team in Premier League history in the next 24, 48 hours. Simple as. Jealousy is going to sink in. We've got these top 6 so-called teams who didn't want this takeover to go through. They're going to be panicking now. I mean, how are the lads? We're there. That's what we've always wanted.
I think I would just like to correct you. There's no longer a top 6. There's a top 1 and the other 6. So I just want to correct you on that now.
I tell you, it's not the top 6 that are the saltiest. It's the Mackhams. I've had some messages. Woo.
Can I interrupt there a sec, Daz? I've been dying for you to play this video, mate. And now we're talking about top 6 and we're talking about money. Like, this video for me is just everything. I just love it.
This is Chris lives on.
Right, boys, you'll love this. You will love this.
Play it.
Here we go.
Oh God, Adam.
Sorry, Mike, I interrupted you there.
Yeah, Mike, we interrupted Mike. Adam's there as well, lads. I mean, what is going on? It's still quite surreal. Like, I know I'm sitting here. There's 9 people on this screen. We've got people queuing up to come in. It's just, I'm not 100% sure what's going on. It's a bit of a surreal dream. Actually, me missus, I tell you something, me missus, I had 6 cans of Heineken in the fridge, right? The missus said to me tonight, "Will I go out and get you more drink?" And I found 2 cans of cider that my 17-year-old had stashed. And I went, "No, babe, don't worry. I'm making fucking snake bite." So I've gone a little bit mad tonight. But it's like, it's absolutely surreal. Like, Sky TV is on in front of me. And it's, for the last 4 hours, it has not changed from Newcastle takeover.
Sorry, man.
Hang on. Go on. What are you doing? That's it. Yeah, it's on now. Exactly. That's exactly. Like, it's absolutely surreal. I mean,
hey, Mandy.
Like,
give us a wave.
Adam, I mean, how are you feeling, mate? I mean, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, since yesterday, when obviously the news kind of broke that there'd been that deadlock with the BA in, and I was just buzzing because it felt like it was going to happen no matter what today or within the next 48, within a week. But then today, when the news actually did drop, I was obviously on Twitter, like probably everyone else, refreshing. And I saw Mirdad and Jamie Rubin tweet. I think Murdad tweeted just cans. And I've just been emotional, really emotional, since up until probably 6:30. And it's only probably the last couple of hours since I started watching you guys that it's that excitement's come back. And it's surreal. It was always more the point of getting rid of Ashley than about who the owners were. And yes, we have won the lottery with who the owners are. But for me, it was always about seeing the back of Ashley. And we've all finally got to that point. And it's just amazing to be here.
How are the lads? I'll jump off, boys. Give somebody else an opportunity to jump in today, but it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you boys very soon.
Richard,
thank you very much.
Having you, mate.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks,
thank you, gentlemen.
Good seeing you, mate.
Yeah, I think we have one or two more trying to come in as well.
We have a very special guest trying to join, by the way, Daz.
Yeah, we do.
I think we're gonna say good night to Jeff, Mike, and Adam. Thanks, lads, for joining us.
It's been great.
And thanks for following us, and thanks for watching our shows as well, lads.
Appreciate you coming on, lad.
I've broken my virginity.
Thanks, we knew you could do it, Jeff. Take care, lads.
Thanks
Good
for
night.
us, Jeff. Cheers, mate.
Lads, I know who's in the green room, right? And I'm surely everybody will probably, within the Newcastle fan base, will want to hear from this person because they've had a surreal experience, not just today, but over the last, 8 to 12 weeks. You know, they've been on this journey as much as we have, but they actually got a little bit of a pipe dream today because she actually got the chance to meet our new owner. Holly, welcome to the show.
Evening, lads. How you doing?
Holly. Welcome, Holly.
How you doing, Hol?
Well,
So, Holly,
I'm good.
Let's start, Holly, with what it was like meeting Amanda today.
It was brilliant meeting Amanda today. I met Mia Dad as well. I'm not sure if we got any footage of that, but if we have got some, then I'm hoping to get a hold of it. But yeah, they were both absolutely amazing. Both came straight over to the fans and certainly filled us with a lot of confidence. Mia Dad's words were, "This is only the beginning," which certainly filled me with a lot of confidence about what we've got ahead of us.
It's on Twitter, by the way. I seen it. I seen you meeting them.
All right, okay. Tag us in
Cool.
it because I haven't seen it yet.
It's class. I'll see if I can dig it out. Yeah, it was boss. You're absolutely right. Like the sentence that he said, he was like walking away and then he turned around, didn't he? And he was like, "This is only the beginning," and it was just like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it now and send you.
Holly, I want to ask you because myself, Pete, and Mark, especially to start the show, we got really, really emotional. You know, like with the statement that came out, not just from the club, but from every aspect of the consortium. You've obviously got to meet Amanda firsthand and Mia Dad, but listening back to that statement now, how does that make you feel? Are you emotional as well? Are you more excited? Because obviously you're. And I know this is a really bad thing to say from our point of view, but you're a generation younger than what we are. You know, you don't. You know, like you've all pretty much only experienced the Mike Ashley era. You know, we can look back at the entertainers and stuff like that. How does that statement make you feel?
Well, it really, really summed up what Newcastle means, I think, because I'm not going to lie, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I did have a few tears today. I cried actually after Amanda left, you know, and I've admitted that on many interviews today. I'm not ashamed about it because from my perspective, I've only ever known Mike Ashley because I was two, sorry, when he bought the club. And every year you just go into the new season and there's no ambition there. There's no hope. You're just hoping that we're not going to get relegated. Whereas now these people have ambitions. There's hope there. There's fresh ideas. And the statement that Amanda Staveley said, we could be challenging for the league within 5 to 10 years. That just shows how far they want to take us. And it feels surreal, to be honest with you. But ultimately, it's just great to see someone that cares about the football club and cares about the fans.
I think that's one of the reasons why I got so emotional, because I saw 3 parties of this consortium who aren't emotionally attached to Newcastle like we are. These people have been pretty much been invested in the last 4 years. If we go back to when Amanda was brought to the club in 2017 in the Liverpool game with Steve, and their attachment to the club began then. But we've as a fan base, we've been attached to pretty much probably, if we go by anything like our parents were, since we were like 2-3 year old and stuff like that. And it probably means so much. And as I mentioned at the start of the show, Newcastle have only made me cry twice. Once when Andy Cole left, and today.
Holly Blades, it's fucking Holly Blades.
Delayed reaction.
I know. Do you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. Holly, I fucking absolutely love it.
What do you think?
I had to. No, hang on. Let me daughter stick her head in here. Say hi.
Hi.
So my daughter is going for student council tomorrow. So she was rehearsing her speech. So I had to duck out for 10 minutes. So
Good luck.
Go
smash it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, she is going to smash it. Her speech is brilliant. Very, very emotional.
Can I tell them my speech?
No, it's probably no. You've had your 5 minutes of fame now. Go away.
Mark, is there speech anything like Amanda Staveley's today?
I would say it's better than Amanda Staveley. So there you go.
Let's tomorrow.
She's brilliant.
No, tomorrow.
I'll send it.
Smash it.
Go and use the photocopy, scan it, and I'll send it to everybody.
Huh?
Exactly. Right. Go on.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.
All right, good night. Good luck. You should be in bed anyway. Get the fuck out.
Chris.
Anyway, sorry, Holly. Sorry to ruin your moment.
Wait, one second, Mark. Chris, if you can find that tweet of Holly, send it to me, and I'll try and upload it so Holly gets to see it on the show.
Oh yeah, Hall, I'm going to do my best for you now, Gail.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mark.
No, you're grand. I had this strange reaction to say, Holly, how pissed are you? But I'm not gonna.
Holly, I've got to admit, have you got one of these empty, or is yours full to like commemorate today?
Mine's full. Shall I go and get it?
If you want.
Is that the same one? Is that the same? Is that the same one when she was sat with Gaz and fucking Carragher, or like what's the deal? Did they get them? That's the only question I've got. Like when they finish with Carragher and that, Holly.
St. James edition.
Is that the same one that you had when you were talking to Carragher and Neville, or like did they take them off you, or what happened?
I don't know what happened to them. I just left. I have no idea.
I'd have had
the most important thing is though, there was no alcohol consumed from that bottle. It was entirely full to the neck.
I'm surprised, Holly. I'm surprised that the Fun Police didn't take that bottle off you, because they seem to have some sort of issue with the fact that you had it.
I'm surprised they didn't stop us from joining the party today. Apparently, it's illegal if you're under 18 to just have a good time. But there you go.
We're not the type of podcast that likes to steal your drink and accuse you of anything. So we're just happy to have you on. I watched the video earlier on. Like, can I ask a question? Did Amanda smell really good? I looked at the video. I'd say she looked like she did.
For fuck's sake!
I'd say I bet her perfumes. Is it mad classy, or is it like kind of Phoenix?
I'm going to be honest, Martin. I have no idea, because in the moment I wasn't really paying attention to how she smelled. I was just more happy to see her as Newcastle winner, to be honest.
I'm messing. But I'd say she smelled lush though.
I can't believe you just said Phoenix. Seriously, mate.
What's wrong with
the amount of people that
between
are
that
to find,
and yesterday.
I know, Daz, the amount of people that have been turning around that there's going to be arses showing Phoenix window because they said that the
mine and Daz's
wasn't
anyway.
going to go ahead is unbelievable. There won't be a Phoenix window this year, not a nativity one anyway.
Listen, I think it's a massive coup, right? Holly was there. She got an amazing video. And I think absolutely fair dues to her. And do you know what? I don't say it. Well, I do say a lot on Twitter. But when the whole thing with Holly and that came out, not many of us made comments. But you know what? for the age that she is, and I've said this, a few times. I'm 51, and Holly, you can confirm this. I text you after the London protest when a few things were not going your way, and I said to you, "Do you know what? Keep your head held high, chick. If you were my daughter, I would be very, very proud of you." Is that true or untrue?
Wait, are you asking me?
Yeah, well, obviously, when I said Holly, did I text you?
Oh,
Fucking
are you
hell.
asking if you text me?
I thought Holly
Yeah.
was going to go, nah, it's shite.
I sent you a
Yeah,
message
yeah,
when
you did.
when things weren't
Yeah,
going
you
so
did.
well. I sent you a message to say, keep your head held high. If you're my daughter, I will be very, very proud of you, correct?
Yes, you did do that.
Exactly. So, on behalf of the fan base, I think we can just sit back and say, regardless of Brown Ale stories and people that tried to stick one on you, in all fairness, you have kept your head held high, and I think you should be very, very, very proud of yourself. And me, certainly for one, I'm sure the lads on this show, we are very, very proud to have you on and certainly know you the way that we do. So well done. I'm very, very proud.
Hall, can I just say, right? Remember,
And
Old
lads,
Trafford a few weeks ago.
Go for it first. Go.
Old Trafford a few weeks ago. I turned around, seen you, didn't I? Went over and seen half time. Then we saw our Pete in the other end, and then we were
With the
stood
Leicester
talking.
fans.
We were stood talking.
Fuck off, Mike. Hey, at least I was fucking there. Fuck off.
we were stood there talking at half time. And Pete, Paul, can you imagine, like, we are where we are now? Because at that point, we were just like, it's crazy, isn't it? How we've gone
Oh,
from that
shit,
to
Daz, the fucking gaffer's waiting.
Who's waiting?
I know
that's
what I got to get a
hang on, I'm bringing him on. Hold on.
I sent him a cheeky message. I
Oh,
sent him a cheeky message.
Steve,
I invited him on. It was only right.
Lads, just before we
get you on.
Exactly. Just before we let Steve
No way, man.
we want to say, as we said at the start of the show, we want to thank Steve for giving us the opportunity to go on his channel at the very start. And then, and as we've mentioned many times before, we also want to thank Steve for giving us a break and letting him use his StreamYard to start our own show. And as we said today in the chat, without Steve, and I know he doesn't want to take any credit, without Steve and Steve Hasty and Mitch and Keith and Holly and loads of different people that play their little part along the way, we wouldn't be here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve.
Absolutely. Steve,
Great to be on.
Very much, sir.
Thanks for the invite. It's been a very emotional day for me today. I've been obviously up to St James's to do a couple of interviews, but spent most of the day crying, to be honest, and I've been quite depressed. That's it's no shame to be admitting that. It's 4 years of hard work, which is finally taking its toll. 4 years of trolling, which is finally taking its toll. 4 years of people stabbing you in the back amongst your fan base, which is taking its toll. And to be honest, it really hit us today. I think that the phone call that changed it was speaking to John Waugh from the Magpie Group, who essentially has been here, done it, got the T-shirt. He was involved with Malcolm Dix, who's a good friend of mine, and took a lot of advice of John over the last 4 years. We even had him on the show a couple of times, and he was the right person to speak to because he's been here and done what I've done. He's been in the position where he's had to fight an immovable object, which in his case was the board of directors at St James's Park, and in my case was Mike Ashley. And it's been basically a job of keeping the fans' morale up, trying to inform the supporters about what's going on without actually being able to say we actually know what's going on. And I think it was just this big release today where I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to I don't have to keep people in the dark. I'm not a naturally secretive person, so it's been very difficult to be able to do that. And I've been lucky because I allowed people who I trusted into the circle, very small selected group of people, which eventually became a show on YouTube, which was obviously the Three Amigos, and then became the Fab Four. And to have a trusted circle of Steve Hasty and Neil Mitchell with me, who've been on so many journeys with us in the past, you know, whether it was them leading or me, you know, me leading, you know, we've all supported each other throughout the last 25 years as supporters, and to have them on that journey and have the trust and, you know, allow them to share Zoom calls with Amanda and Mairdad like we did over the last couple of years has been, you know, it's been very, very, you know, useful for me, because it meant I wasn't on this journey alone. Then obviously allowing John Woff to come to the table and to speak to the prospective new owners was very important. And we went on some highs and lows, and, you know, the lows were probably predictable, because, you know, once we knew that the Premier League had an issue with this, then, you know, it almost fell apart. I mean, Currygate, you know, we all thought it was off. Of course, Rafa was still at the club then, and I was working with Richard Green, who's now no longer with us, and who I've put a tweet out about today, and Owen Brown, who was Rafa's agent, and we're working with those two guys, and they brought Amanda to the club. They brought her there on that day against Liverpool when I sat down with her and spoke to her, and you know, they've been, you know, they'd been useful to speak to. And then COVID hit. Obviously the world's turned upside down. You know, football's not relevant anymore. People's lives are more relevant, and we've just been on this weird, you know, trip. And then suddenly, you know, things started again. I got the phone call from Mairdad. It was January 2020. This could be back on, and you know, I was like, oh no, not again. But you know, it was very secretive, and then somebody leaks it out, and it all started again. So, you know, although it was a small break in it, it's been pretty continuous for 4 years, and yeah, I feel a lot better tonight. I think it's because I've reached out. I reached out to you guys and Holly in the NUFC Matters chat today. I'm probably a bit gutted I wasn't at St James's Park to witness those scenes that I've been watching on Sky for most of the day. I was up there earlier on when it wasn't so busy. But in the grand scheme of things, I just had to look after myself, because I just wasn't myself. I would have been, you know, no use to anybody. I wasn't going to do any interviews today, but people were asking and asking and asking. And I thought getting out of the house and talking, and at least doing what I do best, which is talk, you know, getting out onto Sky and having me say, I knew people would appreciate hearing it. And you know, it's been a big release, but you know, I'm looking forward to going to see Amanda and Mairdad. I'm meeting them tomorrow. It feels like, you know, it'll be like meeting old friends, because I've been up and down to see them many times over the last 4 years, and I'm just delighted for them. I could see the emotion in her interview. It was great to see Holly and her dad down there, and Legacy Dave down at the hotel greeting them, and lovely way that she greeted. Shows what Amanda's like, the way she greeted Holly as if she'd known her all her life, and it was just so positive, guys. It's been so positive, and you know, you're saying thank you to me, but you know, thank you to you guys for being part of the journey. You jumped on the shows, you know, to help other people, not really to help yourselves. You were part of the Matchday Live team. You still do that. Then you had the incentive to go off and do your own stuff on Loaded Football, and it's been a pleasure watching you grow. You know what I mean, and hedging towards that 1,000 subscriber mark. And you know, you'll not look back once you hit that. It gives an alternative. You've gone on to do some great shows, and loved the one with Youssef and you know, Musgrove, the other guy from the BBC. Andy was great to see, but you've done some good stuff, lads, and long may it continue. And just seeing you all progressing, going on to different platforms, it's fantastic. But you know, just thanks for the opportunity to come on tonight and just be part of like the celebrations, because it took us a while to pull around, but at 10:25 I can finally say that I'm very happy, you know.
We love you, Steve.
Finally,
we do, yeah, absolutely, Gaffer. You're still the Gaffer. Obviously we've texted back and forth over a period of time, and I had a particularly dark time earlier, back end of last year and into this year. So, considering we've got best parts of 200 people watching, which is massive for us, I would absolutely like to put publicly on record that when I was in my worst time with my mum and a few things going on in my family, and the support that I got from you, Steve, personally, is something that I will never ever forget. And I know you have your knockers and trolls and everything else, but people that don't know you is what I would say. And I would publicly like at this point to put on record from me on this night that's special to all of us, the support that I got from you in my dark times was massively appreciated, and I will never ever forget it. So I thank you personally. Today, when the takeover broke and you went, "Yeah, I'm not really feeling it," I was kind of like, "What the fuck is going on?" I wasn't 100% sure, but I totally get it, because it's been like, I've seen stuff in the background that other people that are watching the show will never ever see or have seen. And I've seen stuff that you've posted and sent to us that people have sent you on a private level that is disgraceful. And I commend you for how you have dealt with it and how you have gone through the last 18 months of this takeover. And for me personally, I probably couldn't have managed it. So I give you all the credit, sir, that you deserve. And I wish you all the very best in this takeover. And I hope that you get what you deserve as this moves on. And I will gladly stand beside you and see you grow in the way that you need to. So I thank you very much.
Thanks, Martin. It does mean a lot. And I'll reiterate what I said on the show with Malcolm on NUFC Matters tonight. You know, I've not done this for any role. I've spoken to Amanda and Mia Dad over the 4 years, and you know, I'm not really interested in working for the football club. I don't want to do that. I just want to be a fan. I don't really want to go in there and do anything. I'm going to see them as on a friendship level. You know, my aims and ambitions as I reach my 50th year on a different path, and you know, I'll always be there for them to have a chat to and to get a bit of advice off. But you know, it's not really what I want to do personally, and that was never my intention in doing this. And you know, it wasn't me who brought Amanda to the table. As I say, Richard Green, God bless him, and you know, Owen Brown deserves such a lot of credit for this. And really, you know, in the grand scheme of things, as you guys know, because I've shared this with you, Rafa should be, you know, installed as manager, you know, now, and we should have been going on a different path. But that's not going to happen because he's at Everton. He's not going to break a contract, and that ship sailed. Richard, as we all know, passed away earlier this year with COVID after beating cancer, and I think that's been a big reason why I've been in tears a lot today, because, you know, that guy was a special man. I spent 3 years with him at Newcastle United under Rafa. You know, he was a great guy, a great host, and just somebody who I considered a friend. And you know, he's a big miss in my life, and I don't really think I mourned his death. Because of COVID, I couldn't go to his funeral, and I think that all just really came home to roost. And I spoke to Owen this morning for about half an hour, and we chatted about how things are going to work out at the football club and what's going to happen. And you know, I could, none of that which I can share. That's not my job to do that. But I was just so. I think after that phone call, I think that really was the turning point where I wasn't feeling it, and that just made things even worse. And you know, my mind did turn to Richard a lot, and I think that was the reason. And I'm not ashamed of that, because you know, we all need to grieve. And he wasn't my brother. He wasn't my dad. It wasn't my uncle. It wasn't somebody close, but he was a close friend, and somebody who, you know, as I say, came into Newcastle United, did his best. And unfortunately, I know what Rafa wanted to do. I know what Rafa's team wanted to do, and I'm gutted really that they're not going to get that opportunity to do it with this takeover. And I look forward to seeing what Amanda and Mia Dad will do. I think that Jamie is great. I've had a good chat with Jamie today. He was delighted. He was the first to ring us actually this morning, and to have a chat with Jamie this morning about, you know, just to take over. And he's been good. I don't really know Jamie. I've never met him face to face. We just, you know, we got to know each other on the phone over this last 12 months. And you know, to finally, you know, have a proper chat with him. And I'm looking forward to seeing him, obviously, when we have our first game against Tottenham. But yeah, it's an amazing experience, an amazing feeling. And just, I'm delighted for the staff. I'm delighted for there's some great staff at St James's Park. I think I said that on Sky today. And there's a lot of really good people at that football club who have not been allowed to do the job they wanted to do because they just haven't been given the tools or the money to do it. And I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about behind the scenes, the marketing department, the people who run the ground, the people who run the trips around the ground, just, you know, the people who work in the club shops, the people who work in the the facilities at the club, and all of these people have been on hold for 14 years, and been starved of cash and starved of the chance to have their own ideas and put them into practice. And we're going to see a massive change, and it'll take time. It'll take time over the next 10 years. I think that the game plan will be a long one, but I think it'll be a pleasure to go back to the ground and just, me and Holly were stood together with our dad at Wolves in the rain, soaking wet last Saturday, where there was apathy amongst the crowd, and we're just looking out going, bloody hell, and it got that bad. I was giving Holly a running commentary of how good Matt Ritchie isn't. But it was, it was just one of them days, and you just think we can't get any lower. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe we can't get any lower now. The only way is up, isn't it?
It is.
Steve, I must say from a personal point of view, I know Martin mentioned it before, and I know I got the privilege to meet you briefly in the Metro Centre.
The Metro Centre,
yeah. And we didn't get to have a chat like we probably wanted to at the time. But I must say that obviously NUFC Matters did a lot for me personally, as we spoke about a lot, and it helped me meet all the guys on the screen now, and it's changed my life for the better. And I just want to say, to behalf of, I know a lot of NUFC Matters fans are watching this as well because they came to view us because of you as well, Steve. But just to remember that on November the 19th, at the Irish Centre in Newcastle, it is the NUFC Matters Christmas party. There is still tickets available, right? And this isn't a celebration just for NUFC Matters and the loaded people. It's a celebration for all the NUFC fans that want to see this club go forward the way we can remember. Sorry, Holly, I know you can't remember the 90s and the entertainers era like the rest of us can. But we can celebrate what is to come for Newcastle United FC, what we want the club and what we've wanted it all to be since all we want, as I said, all we want is this club to compete. And I think on November the 19th, Friday night at the Irish Centre, the day before the Brentford game, is probably the perfect example of the fan base coming together in one place to celebrate this takeover.
Yeah. Sounds good, Rich. Sold.
Well, I'm going. I've got my ticket.
Right, guys. I've got there's some news come out. So, yeah. Not that we really care about him right now, but Mike Ashley has spoken. So, come from Aaron Stokes, another one of many journalists out there, and Mike Ashley said, "I would like it to be known that I received a higher offer for the club, but than the one that I accepted. But I felt the bid that we accepted from the current new owners would deliver the best for Newcastle United." So that's it. That's the statement. Steve, I don't know what you think about that. Not that we care right now because he's gone finally, but what are your initial thoughts?
I mean, look, the conversations we've had with Keith over the last few weeks, we knew there was other bidders. We knew somebody'd come in. We knew somebody'd made an offer. But the contracts had been agreed. The signatures were on those contracts, and the bond and the deposit had been placed by Amanda and PCP on behalf of the consortium. And Mike Ashley was using that money, wasn't he? So from our perspective, I don't think I was ever concerned that he would have gone for the higher bid. It surprises me that there was a higher bid on the table, especially with the state of the club. But we can't deny that there was other people interested, and that is the information we got back off Keith Patterson. And I'm not sure who it was. I'm not sure what the motives were. But at least Mike Ashley has done what he said he was going to do, which is sell to a consortium that could take the club to a better level, and he's done that. And I've said all along with Mike Ashley, my attitude on him's mellowed over the last 12 to 18 months, because I know he was trying to sell the club. I know he was keen on selling it to Amanda and Mirdad. I was getting the story from them direct, and knew that at times it was tense. At times they were almost concerned as to whether things might be jeopardized if they said the wrong thing. You know, a bit like what had happened originally with the Currygate incident when it was all called off. But I think once we saw Keith Patterson come up with the idea of the cat case, and Newcastle accept his advice and then start speaking directly to him, I think then I just knew he was being serious. I knew he wanted out. And there has been times where I think, you know, collectively behind the scenes, me, Steve, Mitch and Keith have all, and Liam as well, to an extent, have all, you know, gone, oh, God, is this going to be the next bump in the road? But it hasn't been. And, you know, we knew the piracy was an issue. And once we heard that announcement come through that now wasn't going to be an issue, I was thinking, well, what can possibly stop it now? And it turns out that this was obviously sorted out a little bit earlier than we all thought, and the news had been embargoed till Wednesday. So this announcement today should have probably happened yesterday, but I'm led to believe it was, you know, global financial transference of cash, which was the issue behind it not happening yesterday. But, you know, we got there, and it could still, you know, if my information's correct, which I'm pretty sure it is, it could have still been jeopardized had anyone let the cat out the bag, say on Monday or Tuesday. So it shows you how much of a taskmaster Ashley's been throughout this whole process. He hasn't made it easy. He hasn't made the sale of the club easy, despite the fact that Amanda and Mirdad and PCP put 250,000 down just to get access to the data room, and then essentially, you know, put a £17 million deposit into his bank account, a non-returnable deposit. So, you know, ultimately he's made them work for this takeover. But, you know, thank God that, you know, Amanda was a woman of her word and Mirdad was a man of his word, and they stuck with it. And I've been with them a couple of times where I've seen it in their eyes, and had Zoom chats where I've seen it in their eyes that they've probably not had any sleep. And it was no surprise to hear Amanda today to say that, you know, she'll have a good sleep tonight, and she deserves it. And all of that time, she's also been, you know, in court against Barclays. You know, that whole court case was such an enduring thing for her. And of course, you know, she has her own personal battles as well. You know, she's not she's not somebody who is in great health, but she's also got a young child as well. It's hard being a mother. You know, she's got a 6-year-old child, and you know, things aren't easy for Amanda Staveley, but she is, you know, she's somebody who has shown her true colours to me, certainly, and I'm absolutely delighted that she is coming in as certainly the face of this new consortium, and someone who can, you know, somebody who can hopefully lead us to much better days ahead. You know, and I've got to laugh at Michael Chopra making an appearance because of his involvement in this takeover. He's back on telly again.
Honestly, Steve, I had to take a double take because the guys were chatting. The guys were chatting, and to the right of me, I've got my TV screen there.
Yeah,
and he's just come on the screen now. He's back on Sky Sports, not live, but they've just shown him. And I had to take a double take. I was thinking, what the hell is he doing on there?
He's been in touch with me a couple of times today, actually. In fact, I've had a few texts from a lot
I wonder why.
Yeah, I've had a few texts from a few ex-players today, and Michael was one of them. I did reply to him. I've finally managed to get through all the messages, but yeah, I mean, that was a bizarre time. I went and met Michael on the quayside when I was out on one of my infamous Tyne Bridge walks during COVID, and I just remember meeting Michael down on the quayside when he had his, you know, he had his consortium coming to the table, and I'm looking forward to seeing Michael and catching up and finding out what the real story is behind all of that. But it's just another story to the saga, isn't it? We'll look back on this, and I'm sure when Liam Kennedy gets his book out, which he's publishing, when he gets that out, there's going to be some pretty eye-raising stories in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's one or two other people try to do a takeover book, but at least Liam's will be one from the buyer side, which is what I think everybody will want to hear, and, you know, show the fans' involvement, which was quite prevalent to getting this done. And let's not forget the trip to London. Those people who made that trip down to London, Holly at the forefront of Downing Street, you know, everyone's played their part in some way, shape, or form. And that for me is, you know, I can sit back tonight now and just think, you know, we made a difference. You know, those people who travelled to London made a difference. Amanda, the way she greeted Holly was fantastic. You know, she that wasn't PR, that wasn't publicity, that was real, and that was a proud moment for me.
Just on that,
Steve.
Steve.
Sorry,
one
Dad,
sec,
just want to
Chris.
jump in 1 sec, mate. I know you've got a
Go on.
video there you want to share. I just wanted to ask Steve and Holly a quick question while we've got them on. Steve, Holly, you know that Steve Bruce's position now is seriously under threat. I want to ask you both, how long do you think Steve Bruce has got? And also, I mean, I know this is just an opinion for you both. I know that, there's nothing in it, but if you were Amanda or Mairdad now or Piff, who would you pick to choose to take over from Steve Bruce if Steve Bruce leaves in the immediate future?
Go on, Holly.
That's a really hard question about who I would pick, to be honest. Of course, everyone knows that Rafa would have been my dream, but that won't happen now because he is the type of manager that will stay loyal to Everton. So I'm not really sure. I know Eddie Howe's been a name that's mentioned a lot. For me, I don't think Eddie Howe would be someone that I would personally choose because he did okay at Bournemouth, but I think under Ashley, I'd be delighted with Eddie Howe, but I just feel like our ambition should be higher. So to give you an actual name, I'm not sure, to be honest. I couldn't answer it on the spot, but I think that Steve Bruce will be gone before we play Spurs, in my opinion.
So yeah,
it's not inside knowledge from me. I've not spoken to the new owners about this at all. Not something I would ask them, to be honest. But I think Holly's right. I'll be very surprised if Steve Bruce has an opportunity to take the club forward. And I don't think he'll have his 1000th game at Newcastle United. I think that they will have somebody in mind. A consortium doesn't spend that kind of money without having a plan B. Rafa, of course, was their plan A. And I think the plan B will be somebody of equal, caliber in the game. I think that we'll see somebody who, will do a good job at Newcastle United. I mean, I would just be plucking names out of the air. I don't think we will go for. I don't think we'll go for an Eddie Howe. I don't think that the majority shareholders would see that as somebody who would be able to take Newcastle to the next level. And I think they understand enough about the world of football to know that that's not the case. I know one or two of the names who will be announced in due course behind the scenes, and I think they will have a fairly good idea as to who they want in place. But look, some of the names that have been mentioned, such as Martinez, Conte, Gattuso, Mourinho, that's the kind of caliber of manager we should be looking at. Are they the kind of managers who we can get to come to St James's Park now? We've got the finance now, and we've got the owners to potentially do that. But it's whether they want to swap, their current jobs or whatever they're doing now or current opportunities to come to a relegation battle. Because moving away from this, once the dust settles on the takeover, that's what we're in. We're in a relegation battle. We're sitting second bottom of the league. The football was awful against Wolves, as I mentioned, and has been. Pete's been on quite a few games. Chris has been. We've seen it for ourselves, and it's not pretty. A new owner coming in now when the transfer window is shut means we can't make any signings, and it means that suddenly these players are suddenly going to start becoming world beaters. It's going to take somebody special to come in and do that. So I don't know is the answer. It's a problem I can't solve. I've seen Steve Bruce come out. It's commendable to hear him say he would like a chance to put his skills into practice. But I think most of this panel will agree, if not all, that we've seen enough of Steve Bruce's managerial skills to last us a lifetime. So I think we'd all like to see a new manager in before Spurs and get somebody to come in and rub Daniel Levy's nose in it, live on Sky.
Steve, one of the people. Sorry, I was just going to say one of the people who's been marked as favourite today, which has surprised me a little bit. But one of the people who's been backed into favourite, Steven Gerrard. Do you think?
I don't think that would. I don't. Well, listen.
I can see
one
Gerrard
of the guys
coming.
who's coming in behind the scenes would probably get Gerrard down here. Again, that's not my position to say that, but I know somebody who is coming in a capacity behind the scenes, and that would be a good connection. I think that would work. But is Steven Gerrard the person to take Newcastle forward and to come in? I really don't know. He's done very well at Rangers, but as we all know, the Scottish Premiership is a lot different to the English Premiership as far as standards are concerned. But look, Gerrard's won everything in the game. He was a great player. He was a great international player. Is it time to take a gamble on a young up-and-coming manager at St James's Park with the consortium's money? Possibly, you know. He clearly knows what he's doing. It depends what backroom staff he would bring in, but I wouldn't be adverse to it. I think most people have agreed that they would take anybody but Steve Bruce at the moment, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. It's these kind of things we can get excited about again. You know, we can actually get excited about football and, you know, decisions that are going to be made. But let's see what Amanda and Mirdad and the consortium come up with. You know, it's exciting times, guys, just to be even talking about these things.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Gerard's
the rumor mill tonight.
He's not in there. He's in Marbella currently because one of the lads on the London chat that I speak to regularly, he's a good mate of mine, is actually from Leicester. He put up in the chat today that he had a picture with Steven Gerrard yesterday with his little boy. So if they were going to get him in imminently, he's currently in Marbella sunning it up. So
Don't
By the way, Pete,
don't use the word imminently. That word has to be gone forever now.
John Bishop's in York, by the way, so it's not going to be John Bishop either because I've seen him today
But
when I was walking down the street.
There is a few comments coming in. So apparently, according to a lot that is flying around tonight on Twitter, there is a compensation package that's been agreed to get rid of Bruce and his coaching staff for a total of £8 million.
8 million.
It was
8 million.
It's around about 8 to 9 million. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's something I was aware of that was the reason that Mike Ashley wasn't going to sack him. Conversation that I had with the new owners quite a few months ago now. I wasn't allowed to say it, but
Steve, would that involve?
That's a lot. That's a
backroom. That's a backroom
Is
staff.
that like
Bruce.
a collective Steve thing?
Yes.
Is it?
That's a collective.
Does that
Steve,
involve
yeah.
Graham Jones?
The name. I don't. Well, it doesn't look
No.
like it involves
I don't
Jones,
think
but
Jones will go.
the name that has come in front of Conte tonight, as it stands, is Brendan Rodgers.
Wow. I'd take Rodgers.
Yeah.
I would take him.
And that apparently, according to Twitter at the moment, that is a name that has been discussed by the consortium. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But at the minute, Brendan Rodgers is the name that is in the frame.
It's another man who's well connected with one of the people who will be coming in behind the scenes. So yeah, that would add up as well. To be fair, 100%.
And
That's
definitely
doing.
Leicester haven't started well this season.
Yeah,
No.
Conte is still second, but Rodgers is still in the frame as number one at the minute, according to the polls.
Steve, I wanted to ask you. Steve, I wanted to ask you that a few of us got really emotional at the start of the show because of what we've been through with the NUFC journey. Full stop. Not just over the last 18 months since the takeover was announced that was possibly going to go ahead. But we're talking about the journey through supporting NUFC as a career. Full stop. And you know, I think probably only Martin can match you for the time you've supported the club over us, the rest of the panel tonight. But, you know, I know me and Pete in particular at the start were really emotional. We were in tears. I know Martin's been in tears today. I know the rest of the lads have been in tears as well. But emotionally wise, how do you feel after all of this sagas now to an end to a degree?
Well, I feel better now. As I say, I've been crying quite a bit today. Hence the reason that I haven't been, I haven't been up to St James's Park tonight. I would love to have been there, but just wasn't for me. I haven't been really answering my phone. A lot of people messages and sending messages, and I've only really got back to them, before I came on here tonight. But yeah, I mean, it's as I said, it was because of the stress. I think the last 4 years has been quite an emotional roller coaster for me since that dig in October 2017 where I sat with Amanda and Mirdad and we chatted, and then she doorstepped Lee Charnley. So it's been an emotional roller coaster. But as I said, for me, the thought of Richard Green's probably been the thing that really affected me more than anything today, because as I say, him and Owen Brown were the ones who got Amanda to come here in the first place. If you remember, they were looking at Liverpool originally, and they were certainly looking for a football club to buy. Owen managed to persuade Amanda to come up here and have a look at St James's Park and take part in the game. She was supposed to be coming the previous home game, but she didn't make it. And then I was standing doing the talking in the Dog and Parrot with Malcolm, and I got a phone call from somebody to say, "Have you seen Twitter?" And I went, "No." And he went, Amanda Staveley's at the game today. And then I knew that the job I was supposed to be doing at the previous home game was now going to be that day. And I've got to be honest, I was quite nervous, but getting up there and meeting her, we got on very well. And I sat in between her and me, Dad, and we had 2 hours that day. It's a long time. I did what any Newcastle fan would do, which was, just enthuse about the football team, tell them how long that me, my dad and my brother, because they were there as well, had followed Newcastle United. My dad, of course, was there in the first couple of years, and we all sat and chatted, and they got more out of me, my dad, and my brother that day than they could have got out of a brochure or out the history books, because we all had our own memories. We all had different stories. We just sat and we just talked about Newcastle. I gave them a brief introduction about the city and talked about various things that they could do, and how they could improve the relationship with the supporters, the investment that we needed massively in the training ground, that we needed potentially new facilities, that the ground was being left to wreck and ruin, and that they needed to invest in the playing squad. And to do that, they needed a manager who essentially as well would get the club. And I said, Rafa gets the club. And I says, if this takeover goes through, let's hope Rafa is still here, and keep him for long term. His project could really be the thing that makes this club big again. And they took it all in, and she doorstepped Charlie that night. And as I say, it's been a roller coaster for me since then. It's just being in that position where you are trusted enough, and we exchanged numbers that day, and we've never looked back. And it's been when Rafa left, it was almost as if it was never going to happen, but it has, and I think John Waff, as I say, from the Magpie Group, I keep mentioning him, but today when he said to me, it'll say, he says, by the time you go to bed the night, Steve, he says, it'll settle in. He says, and you'll get up tomorrow morning, you'll be bouncing, and he said, that's exactly how I was. He says, because, he says, you've pushed and pushed and pushed and been part of this huge momentum to get rid of this owner and get owners in who want to compete. And he says, you've done it. He says, you won. He says, you won the battle. He says, you've been part of winning the war, if you like. And he says, he says, it takes it out of you. So yeah, emotionally now I feel fine. I'm just glad that I had people like yourselves to reach out to, and just the messages I got, I read them all. I didn't get back to everybody. I had one off Nathan, one of the lads, of course, who's done Match Day Live. Good lad, Nathan. Me and him have got a really good friendship as well. I'm looking forward to seeing him soon. And there's just it's just a good feel amongst our community. There's been a few ups and downs. There's been, as I say, a few arrivals and a few departures, a bit like a train station. But you know what? It's been great, because Martin mentioned earlier about the awful situation he found himself in, and we've all been there to back each other up, and most of us had never met each other. I've only met Rich briefly, and me and Holly have got to know each other well, and me, her and her dad have been going to away games, which has been fantastic. We've got to see Pete a few times pre-season and during the season now, and just looking forward to meeting the rest of you guys. You know what I mean? Met Chris, obviously he was on the walk, and obviously just looking forward to seeing Martin and Daz and getting the Irish contingent over as soon as we can.
I think the one thing I'd like to say on behalf of all the Lord lads and Holly is, because you brought us all together, I still to this day don't understand how anybody could doubt your credentials within the NUFC fan base when they had picture evidence that you were together with Amanda Staveley and me, your dad, that day in October. I think was it October 2017 in the Liverpool game?
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, and you know what? I know that she was the rumors turned on say she was a Liverpool fan originally, and that could have been taken that way, because I believe if you look at the video, the lady that was sat to her left was part of the Hillsborough. I think her son was. She was part of the Hillsborough. Her son was part of the Hillsborough, and obviously she's went on and protested against
it was quite funny, because those seats we used to get, Rich, were obviously we sorted the seat out when we got into the stand, and I always laugh at this, because obviously today Amanda's before the announcement and before Amanda was spotted outside the hotel and Sky's cameras were there to capture that. there was a piece of footage which has been constantly used of Amanda and Mirdad sitting at that match alongside, all of us that day. Now, normally I would sit. I would have been sitting with Amanda, but I chose, because I didn't want to be on Sky, because I knew all the attention was on her. I chose to sit the far end, as the photograph shows.
And
away.
we all knew that as well, Steve.
But I put my dad and my brother dead centre. So unfortunately for me dad and my brother, who are both quite reclusive compared to me, for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, every time that footage has been shown, my dad and my brother have been front and centre live on Sky. Well, of course, my dad, before he retired, used to work at Sunderland University, and nobody knew who he supported. So suddenly, there he is, beamed out on Sky in front of millions of people as a Newcastle fan sitting at the match. So it's often been something that I've laughed at that. And, look, people will doubt, people will always say, and the fact that I couldn't come out and say something, and I was never going to break the confidences of these people, because that's not what you do, you don't break the confidence, especially when it could have affected the takeover, especially when it couldn't have. But when I I'm never going to sit back and watch all the programs, but I know if anybody does, that you will see how many times on a Friday night, especially, we were giving out subliminal messages, telling you what was going on, trying our best to tell people what was going on. And look, I've seen as many of these messages I've had today. I've had a lot of inboxes, especially on Twitter. Thank you for keeping us in the loop. And you know what? Even if I message people back, people saying, "Are you still confident?" That was like the joke, wasn't it? Are you still confident? 100%. 100%.
That's how we got on the show.
And they've all been back in touch today, going, "Steve, thank you so much." And it's that in itself has been, it's well worth just saying thank you to those people, because it shows that I helped people, which is all I was trying to do.
So Amanda Stavely has still been talking. So NUFC 360 has just released. Stavely has said, "I've been in contact early on today with Alan Shearer."
Oh.
She said, "We are lining up to chat. I have asked him if there was something that he would like to do within the club, as we are very open to hearing from him. I hope that there is something that we can line up." There you go.
That'd be class.
It's great. It's great. This is the plan. It's to get people united. I love that little phrase that she uses about we're going to have it like the united policy. That was the key word that stood out in one of the interviews that I saw her do, and it's up there now, and it'll be a soundbite for the newspapers. But a united policy, that's great, because we are united. And we're the only united. We're the real united, and that now in my heart, I just think, I knew she was the right person anyway, but just to hear her now being able to talk as one of the owners is just fantastic. And there's a huge amount of pressure off now. We can get back to talking about football and not be worried about the owners. We don't have to sing that awful "Get Out of Our Club" song anymore. And it's just, it is a reason to be happy, and I think I'll probably have a drink on Sunday. I'm going to keep it till Sunday. I haven't had any cans tonight, and the lads will be probably having cans tomorrow night. I know Mitch has been out tonight, but
Hem was a little bit worse for wear, to be said.
I think they will, and I want to say thanks to Jason Heels, who dropped off. I don't drink beer, as everybody knows, but he dropped us off 24 cans of Moretti and says thanks for everything you've done. So I think I'll put them into the raffle for the food bank at the Christmas dinner.
Yeah,
happy
nice.
days.
Lads, I want to bring Holly back into the conversation again. And Holly, I know we Chris sent us on the video. I didn't watch it again, but maybe Chris, drop the comment for 1 second. I want to play this for Holly.
Holly, mate, go on. Yeah, it's class video.
Yeah. Great, cool. Here it is. And I want to bring out after this. I want to bring out two special guests as well.
We've got him on.
Okay.
We've got him on. Steve's gonna love this.
Here's the video for Holly first, because she hasn't seen it.
Absolute hero. Thank you so much. This is the best thing that's ever happened in Newcastle. Come on. What a man. It's just the beginning, guys. Yes, thanks very much. Thanks for sticking by with. Slowly but surely. Come on. Come on. Get it. Get it. Come
Nice one, Holly.
That gets you emotional all again, doesn't it?
It does.
It gets you emotional all again.
Holly, I think that Amanda and Mairdad will consider adopting you at this stage. They're both in love with you. But lads, I want to bring out.
I'd definitely be switching parents.
I want to bring out two people who Donald, who's been waiting patiently in the chat, and a familiar face we've seen before, right back at the start. Is he wearing specs as well?
He is. He's loving
Here's
it.
Donald. And
Hi guys.
Look at him.
Hi.
Look at
How are you doing? Great take.
The takeover's happening. Nate's wearing glasses to try and look all educated. Get the fuck out, you big Bernie. Get it.
No, I'll put mine on too. There we go. I'll put mine on.
Nighttime glasses on, guys.
How you doing, Nate? You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, you got me out of bed, Chris, for the special.
Mate, the boss had spoken. I said you got to get on.
Yeah. Here I am.
And he got me out. He got me
Have
out of
you heard the
bed
news,
by
Nate?
ringing us.
What? Sorry, what did you say, Des?
I said, have you heard the news? If you've been in bed all day, have you?
Oh, God, it was. Yeah, I was working from home, and yeah, like I think I missed it all yesterday actually. Chris texted me, to be fair, in the afternoon. I've been I said to him, I've been refreshing, like since the court case. I felt like something was going to drop anytime soon, maybe, but not like this. And yeah, I was kind of I've been looking every day up until yesterday, and then I had a day off. I was that busy at work. I had a day off, like looking anything at all. And Chris texted me going, "Oh lad, it's like what's going on? What's going on?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I looked, I was like, "Oh shit, it's going down." And then since then, there's no write off. You know what I'm like? I've been wearing out that refresh button. Yeah.
Nice one. That's it. Have we run out of things to talk about?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Yeah, Donald, good to see you.
Yeah.
Come here, Donald. You've been on numerous shows. You've been on Matters. You've been on with us.
Yeah.
And you've been sat there for about 6 hours while we've been chatting and not
I've enjoyed listening to you.
How are you feeling? Because you've been like I've kind of followed most of your tweets. You've been dead positive throughout most of this, and nothing seems to have bothered you. So how are you feeling tonight?
Oh, as I say, I got told off by my kids first because I was on Toon Review earlier and I was shouting away and well happy, and I was also on the Zoom call to Toon Army India, and I was like over the moon. And my son goes, "Well, he's happy." I said, "I haven't had much to be happy about these past few months, so give us a chance, mate." But yeah, well done to all those involved who made this happen. I mean, it's been like, Holly, well done, protest, and obviously well done to Keith Patterson as well for bringing the case to court, and all good things. Today has proved that all good things come to those who wait. We've waited, and the good thing has come. End of. So I'm well pleased, and above all, I'm looking forward to my Southern Plastic fan cousins who are plastic fans of certain clubs, and I'm looking forward to sticking it up them, if you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you mean.
All right, fair enough. No, but sort of because I used to get a lot of stick. I used to have to eat what's it called, humble pie, like all of us. But obviously, I'm looking forward to making them eat humble pie instead of me having to eat it all the time. So that would be great. But no, it's great for the club and it's great for the city too. It's brought some bounce back to the city, which is, bounce, which was, when obviously Keegan was here and Sir Bobby was here, there was always that bounce as well, wasn't it? If we'd had a good result, everybody went to work happy. And obviously, let's hope we can look forward to more days like that. And that to me is what it's about. And when in Newcastle Town Centre, hopefully it'll be a sea of black and white, not only on match days, but, normal shopping days, you're going to every third, fourth person going to be wearing a black and white top. That's what we want to see.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Question. I've a question for Steve. Obviously, you know, we us that know you know that you're very, very close to certain peoples within the consortium, and it's great to talk about the football and everything else. But one of the things I said, for me, having lived in the area but now not living in the area, I'm more excited about what's going to happen to the area. So, are you aware, or have you any insight into anything like ground expansion or ground movement, or any kind of developments from the Rubens around the city as to what may happen? Obviously, we put pictures up, you know, a couple of shows ago when we had Mitch and Steve Hasty on, but obviously with the shite that's going around the back of the Strawberry and stuff. Is there anything, Steve, that you know of that, you know, is gonna improve the city as a whole, and like, what's your thoughts on all of that?
I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be discussed, obviously, over the next few weeks. I mean, you know, the Reuben 10% is very important from that perspective, because, you know, that is what they're doing already, investing in the city, putting, you know, a lot of time and effort, resources and money into various parts of the city, and making it, you know, making it a lot better for the local community. So, yeah, you know, there's no doubt that that's going to be a big part of it. But, you know, when we initially discussed this takeover happening at Newcastle United, and we had a general chat, it was, you know, it was always going to be that, you know, there would be investment in the playing squad first and foremost, and, you know, there was a game plan for those particular transfer windows that were coming up, and there was also going to be investment in the training facilities. You know, talk about potentially relocating was mentioned. You know, that they did the groundwork when they first came up to look into buying Newcastle in 2017, 2018. I introduced them to numerous people, and you know, they went out and met various factions, various parties, spoke to various people. I gave them a list of people that maybe they should speak to, and you know, they went off and did their due diligence and introduced themselves to various people. And I think that, you know, those plans will still be in place. I think there will be investment in the ground, but, you know, it's a blank canvas. It's a chance to start again, and you know, the key really for everybody is that the club remains in the Premier League. That is going to be the focus. But like Amanda said today on our interview, this is going to be essentially, you know, a long-term plan, a long-term aim. And yes, like whenever there's a business plan drawn up, there's always going to be short-term goals. And, you know, you heard her long-term goal is to win the Premier League. Well, you know, that's not a bad goal to set, is it? And, you know, I know that it was the way that Keith Downey got that answer out of her at the end of an 8-minute interview. I didn't think it was a deceiving way of doing it. I didn't think it was a deceitful way of doing it. I just think, you know, he got what he wanted. He got a good sound bite. That'll be the headline on the back pages of most papers tomorrow. But, you know, she's got a long-term plan. She knows what she wants to do. And, you know, she's got the people behind her that can help achieve that goal. And I think the fact that if this was a one-dimensional takeover and this was one person like Mike Ashley coming into the club, I think we would all be a lot less enthused. But I think the fact that we've got so many business people around the table, but most importantly, we've got football people who are going to be coming in behind the scenes. The fact that they're reaching out to ex-players such as Alan Shearer and asking them if they would like to be involved. That's what will make this club great again. And I'm excited. I think everybody will be excited. This is a lot more than investment in the team. And as you've rightly said, it's investment in the area. And in a time when, you know, all of us are going to be hit hard with, you know, electric and gas going up, and various things, you know, affecting our daily way of life. You know, this really could be a positive, and, you know, it's going to give jobs. It's going to benefit the area massively. It's not just about the football team; it's about the area in general.
Steve, can I ask you something?
Too many fucking people talking. Come on, one at a time.
Steve, I was going to ask you, because obviously you've got a personal relation with Alan Shearer anyway.
Yeah.
He took over the club when we went down the first time, obviously under Mike Ashley. Unfortunately, we weren't back there. Would anybody take Alan Shearer back on as manager under the correct backing?
It's a good question. I don't think Alan Shearer will be the person who will be offered the manager's job if that's what you think. And I think that
I don't think he does. I don't think he would be, but it's just someone I believe that people like, even players who we want to attract to the club, he would be someone who would be able to draw that sort of person to the club.
I don't think Alan's got any ambitions.
I think if you had the right footballing director, I don't think you need Shearer. And I'm like Steve. I don't think he would come back into that position. Maybe another role somewhere within the club. I mean, I'd love to see Keegan come back to sell the brand worldwide. I could see Shearer being a part of that in some format. But for me,
could you see him as a director of football in Mart?
No, I don't think so. I mean, listen, we know today that Jason Wilcox is a name that's in the frame for director of football. Is currently doing the role at Man City. Personally, given the job at Man City, I think it would be a huge loss to Man City. Would I take him as director of football at Newcastle? Absolutely, because I think he's done an amazing job at City. But I think Shearer needs to be somewhere else up with some of the ex-players. And listen, maybe Steve will correct me, but I would prefer to see some of the legends for what they are and come back in different roles within the club. But I think from a point of structure, from manager, director of football, I would think that the consortium have completely different ideas to that. I would think.
Yeah, I mean, look, the consortium aren't coming in blind. They're not. They've had 4 years to plan this, and they know what they want. Unfortunately for them, their first choice of manager is unavailable. So that is, they will have a plan B. I don't know what that plan B is, but ultimately they will have their mindset on one or two others. But the key to this really is that they have got key football people involved with this. And again, that is for them to announce, not for me to suggest who might come in. But one or two people who I know for definite are going to be involved will make a big difference because they are football people. The people who are, who have been in those roles at Newcastle United over the last 14 years, many of them haven't been football people. And that is why we have failed on many, many counts, whether it be in the transfer market, whether it be scouting, whether it be, whether it be behind the scenes at executive level. It's the reason we have failed is these people aren't football people. Derek Lambias wasn't football business, wasn't a football businessman. He was a casino owner. John Irving was an accountant. Lee Charnley, came up through the ranks at St James's Park, but he wasn't a football person. Russell Cushion, who was previously, in that role, was a good football person. He was well respected and he could get a deal done. Freddie Fletcher could get a deal done. He was respected in the football world. He knew all about it. That's what was being severely lacking. Mike Ashley's gone and pulled in people from other industries and expected them to be able to treat football like their other businesses. Justin Barnes, more retail than anything else, nothing to do with football. Even the people that he brought in football capacity were people who weren't good enough really for our football club. Joe Kinnear, stands out. Dennis Wise, Alan Pardew, although he got us into Europe in that wonderful season where we finished 5th, Alan Pardew wasn't a Newcastle United manager. He didn't get the area. He didn't understand the people. He was very arrogant, and he just there's so many negatives about that, and that was the reason that we didn't get to that position. Any position that we wanted to get to, because we didn't have football people. So that's the one thing that this consortium will address. Believe you me, some of the names that will be announced probably won't even be household names to many, but they're football people. And that sends the right message out to the rest of the football community that suddenly this football club is not only open for business, but it's now going to start competing again. And that's great news for everybody.
I think with that, Steve, it's like with I definitely think there's a place for like the ambassador roles for the ex-players. But I think with there's been a lot of talk today of I've heard people suggest Keegan as manager and Shearer as manager and stuff like that. But I think in terms of like director of football roles, it's time for we've got this backing now. The Saudis aren't going to do things on a sentimental basis. I don't think they will get best in class, won't they? In whatever position they look to fill.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know a lot of people want, the likes of Les Ferdinand and stuff to come back here and, in some kind of capacity. But like you say, there's no place for sentiment in football. You want the right people in the right jobs. They've spent a hell of a lot of money buying this football club. They're going to want the right people in to do the job.
Dave, I was asking Stephen Holly before the question: how long do you see Steve Bruce in the role? And also, who would be your first choice to come in as manager?
Yeah, I think it's probably I think it's very telling from her body language in that interview, because she speaks quite openly and quite freely, and I think that when I've seen Amanda asked a couple of times about difficult questions, and I think she gives a kind of similar sort of response to when it's something that's not sort of on the table to be talked about, so to speak. And I guess I took from that the writing was on the wall for Steve Bruce. They talked about doing a review of the club. I think there's a lot of things that they will be reviewing now. They're in, they've got the feet under the table, but I think there's a lot of things that they will have been reviewing obviously from afar. And one of the things is the dreadful, not just team performance and the way that the manager operates, but in the way that he interacts with the fans, the way that he carries himself out in press conferences. So I don't see him lasting. I think it might be like a couple of days really, and then they'll probably. I think probably what they'll be doing, they'll be looking. They'll have something in mind anyway. There was a lot of talk last summer of certain players and certain managers being lined up to sort of release on upon completion. But I think this has probably happened very quickly in the last 48 hours. So I think they'll be probably be looking to tie something up and then giving him the shove. So I think probably like a couple of days. I was talking to my dad about this earlier on, actually, about a manager, and he was saying that he wanted to get Antonio Conte, and I think that'd be a great appointment. I just sort of wonder with that, is any manager of that caliber going to want to come in? Because if you were him, you'd probably say, well, I'll come in in December, just before January, when I can come in and we can buy players and we can do things. Is he going to want to manage that shower for 2-3 months? Like, is it Antonio Conte going to be managing John Joe Shelby and Hendrick for 2 months? So I'm thinking we might have some. I was kind of worried, thinking it might be to that point. I thought it might be like Graham Jones for a short while and then a big appointment. But I would hope that someone of that stature would have the have the guts to come in and take us on as we are now, second bottom. So it'd be Conte for me. But yeah, also the ex Favre from who's left Dortmund last time around. I think he's a really good manager, but I think they'll probably shoot for the stars, won't they? This consortium, I would imagine.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? Nathan, it's funny you say that, because me and Martin were discussing it before, weren't we, Martin? Saying, as far as I was concerned, or what I'd heard, Steven Gerrard was the favourite. Certainly, he was about 6-7 o'clock this evening. But Martin was saying earlier that Brendan Rodgers has been backed into favourite. I mean, what do you think on Brendan Rodgers and Steven Gerrard? What would be your thoughts on those two? I mean, me personally, I think it's too early for Gerrard. Albeit I think he's really promising. I'm not sure that this job at this time is right for him.
The betting has changed though. On Sky Bet, as it stands now, Gerrard is 2-1 on.
2-1 on.
2-1 on. Yep.
I feel like Gerrard would have been one of those. I feel like Gerrard would have been one of those kind of Mike Ashley type managers. To be honest, I think he would have worked well with what he's got available to him. I don't think I think he probably would have clashed with Ashley, but I think he would have been one of those players who could get the best out of what we've already got. I think if you're looking at, Brendan Rodgers, the way they play is he's always set his teams up to play well. Like you look at how Swansea used to play. They took the Premier League by storm when they came in. They were really impressive, weren't they? They were like, they were like Leeds last season, but they weren't too bad defensively either. I think his seasons at Liverpool, he got him playing some really good football. And obviously they came close that year, didn't they, to winning the title, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, you look at how Leicester set up, and I think they're really dynamic. They've got, I think he'd look to bring in good players, and I think his reputation is growing. Brendan Rodgers definitely, he probably commands a lot of respect. I think certainly from English football. I don't know how that would translate across to foreign players hoping to come in, but I think I think ultimately any of these questions, the fact that the sort of limitless pockets, deep pockets, kind of trumps a lot of any reservations that a player might have, right? Because Robinho signed for Mark Hughes, didn't he? So.
Yeah.
I think that's a good, Martin, just a little pointer. Ruben's statement is fantastic. We will build a true community club based upon our family's knowledge of the city and in line with our plans that have been worked on closely with Newcastle City Council. And I think that answers the question you asked a little bit earlier.
Does,
Yeah, fantastic that.
It does. Could you see them moving? Do you think, obviously there's lots going on, and obviously you've got, the things going on around the Strawberry and, in behind the club. Can you see them, Steve, from your perspective? Obviously, listen, I used to have a season ticket, used to go, being in Ireland 22 years, try and get to the games when I can. So it's very easy for me to duck out and say, I don't know, which it is. Can you see them looking at moving and creating a brand new stadium, or do you think they will develop St. James's Park?
Not in the certainly not in the short term. If Newcastle suddenly went mad and started winning leagues, FA Cups, Premier Leagues, Champions League every year, then and there was a demand, then I think yes. But that was again a question I asked them right at the very start of the whole process.
Yeah, I
and
think we did talk about it. I think we did.
It's not a priority at all. Extending the ground is a potential. I told you, I think I've mentioned this on NUFC Matters before, but when I was working at the club in 2000, David Stonehouse showed me the plans for building on the East Stand. Potentially building on the East Stand. You would have to buy the university building behind, and essentially you would have to incorporate the listed part of that building into the back of the new stand. That's going to cost you just about as much as it would to build a new stadium. So that, I think that wouldn't happen. But I think what would happen is potentially extending the Gallagher. So the ground would look completely lopsided. But I think the building on top of the Gallagher, you could certainly get an extra 7,500 there. And I still think there's a way of doing it structurally, despite the fact that the Strawberry is being the land behind next to the Strawberry and behind the Gallagher is being sold. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But for the time being, 52,000 will be the capacity, I think. And there's also talk of almost manoeuvring the ground around, turning it around, and then building it that way. So that again, that is a possibility. But who knows? And we've been down this road before with Sir John. Most of you won't remember it, but we did go down this avenue with Sir John where they wanted to build the ground next to the River Tyne. They threatened Newcastle Council with moving it to Gateshead, but it never ever came off. But I think there's bigger problems to sort out before we get to that.
Okay. Quick question for Nath. Obviously, you're in Burnley. How has your fan base reacted to the news tonight?
My fan base.
Nathan's fans.
Oh no, I just tried to catch him out there with the whole Burnley thing.
What is that his actual fans? His only fans, Mark?
No, you know what it is. I will say, listen, me and Nath have been good pals for a long while, and we actually texted each other yesterday. I haven't talked to him in ages, and he went through a bad spell, and I did early in the year, and his support to me was massive early in the year for me. So I thank you for that, pal. And it is great to see you on. The fact you've not been on so long. And I know I do take the piss out of you being a Burnley fan, but obviously the truth is you're not. But is there obviously you said you kind of weren't really much up on Twitter. What do you think the reaction is going to be in other areas? And you're in Burnley, but what do you obviously there's other clubs. There's obviously us being number one. Then there's the other 6, and then there's the other 14 that make up the Premier League, or 13 now. What do you think is going to be the reaction from other clubs around, other fans and other clubs around the Premier League to obviously the news today?
Yeah, I think like talking to my friends that the past sort of 24 hours, I was saying to them all yesterday, it's happening. And they were like, oh, shut up. Because I've been sat in the pub with them like over the last 2 years saying, oh, guess what? Yeah, like Saudi planes have been flying in this weekend. And they're like, oh, it's got to the point where they just started ignoring me. So like when I was telling them yesterday, they're like, yeah, but really, is it going to happen this time? But when the Burnley one went through,
Oh, he's knocked himself onto
My
mute.
friend-
He's muted himself.
Oh, he's back. He's
See
back.
me?
No,
No, my
he's
dad,
back.
my
He's
dad
back.
just rang me. Sorry. When the Burnley one came through, that obviously that sort of came out of nowhere and happened, you know, in the time it took, you know, in about a month's time or something, right in the middle of ours stalling and falling through, and they're all like, "Oh, we got our takeover before you," like these rich American owners and stuff. But actually, if you look at what's happened here in Burnley, I know a lot of people who worked at the club. A lot of it's been sort of like Americanized, if that's not a word, but Americanized kind of thing, and it's been, you know, it's become a lot more corporate. A lot of good people have lost their jobs at the club who worked at Burnley, and that's because they've become like this big sort of trying to become this big like corporate machine all of a sudden that's just not kind of true to the people. So that is one of the things that I hope, you know, and I'm sure that the new owners will preserve here. But yeah, in terms of other clubs, and there is a lot of you know, it's sour grapes, isn't it? I think from a lot of these clubs, a lot of people say no, they'll never win anything, but that's what they said. That's what they said about Man City, wasn't it? And you know, Man City had you know, a couple of weird years. I think I'm looking forward to those. I said to Chris before, I'm looking forward to those like weird seasons, you know, when we're transitioning into something better. Because if you look at Man City, they had like, you know, a few stars mixed with some really average players, didn't they, for a long while? I'm kind of looking forward to that weird phase, if you will, of moving to something better. But yeah, I think there'll be a lot of sour grapes and I've got a few friends who are United fans, and they've took real pleasure in all the times that it's faltered over the last couple of months, like the last year, and I think that's very telling, because I think that, you know, I think you look at, we're talking about Arsenal and Tottenham today, that realistically in sort of 4 or 5 years time, possibly sooner, they're going to be struggling, aren't they? They're going to be struggling at looking how to get back. They'll still be paying the stadium off. They won't be buying players. They won't be able to compete with us in Man City, will they, really? And I think once we get going, you know, all bets are off, aren't they? So I think there is already a lot of sour grapes, and that's why the media is as it is. I feel like a lot of the media don't really like Newcastle as it is, but we've just given 700 billion more reasons not to like us, right? So,
Nate, is it worth us looking at the likes of Dwight McNeil or Tarkowski from Burnley, or do you think we should be setting our sights
on
higher?
Twitter about that? Yeah, Tarkowski's out of contract at the end of this season, I believe, because they had an offer from Leicester, I think, last summer, knowing he had a year left on his contract, and they got offered 30 million for him, but they wanted 50, I think, at that time. And that's when he was kind of playing better than what he is. But Dwight McNeil's a real talent. I think he'd give us some good balance down that, you know, with him and Maxi on either wing. I think that's what we'll be looking at, though, isn't it? In the interim, we'll be looking at picking, like, sort of cherry picking these players from the clubs that are kind of in and around us, and taking the best of what they've got, and then moving us up. It's going to be incremental, isn't it? It's not going to be. I'm sure there'll be a few marquee signings, but it's going to be looking at picking off from those teams around us, that, you know, giving them offers that they can't refuse. And I think that's probably how we'll do our business. I'd like to get, in terms of a first signing, I'd really like to go for someone like John McGinn. I know it sounds like it's not glamorous, it's not amazing, but honestly, I think he'd be great.
Nate, you mentioned marquee signings. I have one name for you, Troy Deeney.
Yeah, well, get him in as an ambassador now. I think he's probably on Talk Sporting now instead. Yeah, so
I tell, if we were going to start stealing, and we named a few names, I'd love to try and see us take your man that's on loan. I think is he still at West Brom? Your man Conor Gallagher from from Chelsea.
He's a Palace.
He's a Palace. So I'd love to get him, and somebody else I seen mentioned today, which I don't think we get hold of, but maybe a longer term, is your man Bellingham from Dortmund.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be something, yeah.
Yeah. Todd Cantwell is another one that's been mentioned to give us a bit of
You could look at
pace.
realistically taking like the best players from any of the sort of bottom half teams, and it would how much of a boost would that be to our team if you got to pick 4 or 5 players from any of those teams in and around us? It'd make such a boost. We'd be up, you know, 6 or 7, wouldn't we? Like, just with literally 4 or 5 good players into the team.
Yeah.
Nate, look at Maddison at Leicester. Maddison can't get a game at Leicester at the minute, can he?
I know. Yeah, and he nearly ended up at Arsenal, didn't he? But I bet he's glad he hung on. But you look at the likes of like I think we'd have to see how Leicester progress because they're doing well and they're building a good team and it's a good project there. So I think it'd probably be the other types of teams that we'd look to take from. But you look at like Southampton, like if you get someone like Ward-Prowse out of Southampton,
Ward-Prowse, great signing.
Yeah, be big money moves for all these players because they want top dollar for all their players. But if we've got it to pay, then
he'd sort the fucking corners out, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would.
He sort the bloody free kicks out as well.
Jesus,
lads, I've unfortunately something's come up at home and I've got to go. But I just wanted to say once, like before I go, once again, thanks again for Steve and Nate and Holly for coming on. But I also wanted to show what our next generation of NUFC fans are actually thinking of this, because obviously, us on the show now are realists, but my son and his friends have been like messaging each other on WhatsApp and stuff because all of a sudden NUFC has took over the next generation of fans, and it's something that we've thought possibly been like long gone because of what's happened over the last 14 years. But this is what's been shared on their WhatsApp, on their school chat. So pictures like this, which is like the what's going forward. But this was the main one, and I know like we're realistic fans, and this isn't going to happen. But this is what they think is going to happen. And one day, you never know, it might happen.
Oh, lads, come on now.
That's good, though, isn't it?
I still see the floor.
Look, lads, I don't believe it. You don't believe it. But do you know what? Let our 12-year-old kids and our next generation have a dream. Let them dream.
That's exactly it, Richie. I was just going to say the difference is, as of today, people can dream. And that's the difference.
Yeah. As I tweeted earlier on, Martin, #Dare to Dream. It's something that this fan base can do for the first time, probably since we were kids ourselves.
Yeah, that would be a great football show on Amazon, but it would also be a very, very good T-shirt if we know somebody who could produce T-shirts and put them on the back of a website.
Steve might be able to put us in the right direction with that one. He might know somebody might be able to do that sort of thing.
QTechShop.co.uk. They make us tables and snooker tables and T-shirts in Wallsend.
Steve, we've been nagging him to come on. Saying make an appearance. I said, Steve.
I think at this stage we also need to give a shout out to Spider VPN and Darren Baldwin Funerals. Anybody else you'd like to give a shout out to, Steve, while you're on?
Skipsandbins.com.
Skipsandbins.com.
Who were busy putting Sports Direct signs into the back of their biggest skip.
And probably cleaning up outside of St James's Park now that everybody's left, I would imagine.
Steve, I think I think Steve, Chris, and Martin was over like basically they were over like I was trying to tell us what was going on basically, but at the end of the day, John from QTech sponsor has done a fantastic job for the food bank, and I know that we've had a few conversations about doing our T-shirts in the future. He's done a fantastic job for yourself with the NUFCmatters.com T-shirt. And the amount of money that he's raised for the food bank, it hasn't got unnoticed by a lot of the NUFC fan base. And we've got a few ideas. We spoke to John as well, and there's going to be a few other ideas coming forward. And do you know what? It's all going to go towards either the food bank or NUFC Foundation. Some really, really worthwhile causes that could do with it.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, we're gonna make an announcement in December. We've been waiting for John to get back on his feet, but when December comes, we'll make an announcement as to how much we've raised, and it is already. I know roughly what we've raised, and it's a monumental amount, to be fair. So well done to John. But I've got to bid you farewell as well. I've got to go and get some sleep. I've got a big meeting in the morning.
Yeah, good luck with that meeting, Steve.
Tell
them we said hello.
Take care.
Yeah,
I will do.
No worries, Steve. Yeah,
God bless you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Make sure you organise the box, Steve. We'll be there at the game, so just make that shit happen.
Take care. Night.
See you, Steve.
Lads, I'll see you as well. Unfortunately, it's something I've got to sort out here before 1:30 in the morning because I've got a long night ahead of us, as Martin will know.
Exactly.
But
you can't organise a box, Richie. Fuck off. Go on.
Lads, I'm going to be at 4:30 in the morning watching the Seahawks. You know what it's like, Martin.
I know. Do you know what it is, Richie?
Your NFL team. I've got to go for an hour. I've got stuff to sort out. But lads, let's seriously, like,
love you,
our
Richie.
future is like, see, you can't imagine what's possible for our fan base now. What's going to happen in these next few weeks, months, years will be fantastic. It's a roller coaster you will never, ever want to get off. And that's how I'm going to leave you. Good night, lads. I will see you.
Speak to you, Richie.
See you later.
See you later,
Take care,
Richie.
Rich.
See you,
You take
pal.
care, mate. You take care.
I thought he'd never leave.
I know, fucking lightweight. That's exactly it, Richie. That's exactly it. We are number one.
Does he forget that I've got control of the studio as well? Like when I can tell to kick off as well.
I know that.
Sorry, see you later, lads.
See you later.
Daz, can I just make a request, mate? Because I don't think Holly and Nathan saw it, and I just love it, mate. Can we put that WWF on? Can we put that video on again, mate? I just love it. I just love it.
Let's do it.
Is it the money one?
Just do it.
Yeah.
Mate, I love it.
Oh man, yeah.
Here we go.
Hol, prepared to be blown away, girl. You're gonna love it.
Is that bouncing in it? That little bouncing around it?
Yeah, he's like that.
It's certainly not going to be fucking Charlie walking into work tomorrow anyway. That's for sure.
We'll have to end on the zebra as well. One last time.
We will have to end on the zebra. Yeah, we are. What are we? We're 3 hours and 36 minutes in. It's 20 to, yeah. Have you ever been to Burnley on an away day? You're in. Yeah, no, it's gonna be mad. But yeah, lads, what a night! Oh god, man, it's like, and the crazy thing is, right? The comments are still flying. There's 160 people still fucking watching this shit.
No, you know what? You know what happened? You know what happened? People had it on. They've now passed out, and it's still on.
It's still on. That's exactly it. Yeah. It's
How
just
many
like,
hours
they're gonna get up.
last night?
They're gonna get up in the morning, and their fucking Sky bill and their TV bill and their internet bill is gonna be fucking massive.
I'm getting another bottle. Hang on.
I got
Do
five.
you still pay per minute over there, Martin?
Yeah, well, like I mean, we've only literally got broadband net. You know yourself. I told you about that last year. Do you know what I mean? We're still going. But no, like it's a crazy night. Holly, I mean, the last few weeks for you have been mental, right? Like I've again, you know, we chatted earlier before Nate came on. Like, you know, I text you a couple of times, you know, when things weren't going so well for you. But like from coming on to kind of matters initially, you know, with the girls initially, and then kind of linking in with Steve and the shows, the away days and everything. I mean, how are you feeling at the moment? Because I mean, it must be absolutely nuts as to where you were to where kind of your Newcastle United, I was going to say a career, but that's probably the wrong word, but maybe it is the right word. But like, I mean, what, when you like were outside today and Amanda is giving you a hug, and again, you know, she smells great because she gets her stuff in Phoenix. Like, how, like, I mean, like, what is your level of thinking when it goes from you just being a supporter to where it is now? I mean, like, it's a massive change. It's a life change, really. So, I mean, how are you feeling about all of that?
It's been a crazy year. So I had a really bad end to 2020 because I lost my granddad, who was one of the biggest people in my life. And then we came into 2021, and again, I was still a bit low kind of after that happened because it was towards the end of the year. And then I joined NUFC Matters in the February, at the beginning of February, and it's not something I would have normally done, to be honest, because believe it or not, I actually used to really, really struggle to talk. Like, I was actually quite quiet, and I know it doesn't seem like believable now, but that's how I was. And I didn't think anything would come of it. I wasn't really expecting to do many shows, but it went really well. I enjoyed doing it. And it kind of kicked on from there. Of course, throughout the whole lockdown, it really gave me a focus because I was kind of sitting, not doing anything, which was just obviously not a good thing because then you're dwelling on kind of the negative things. But NUFC Matters did give me a focus, talking about my main passion in life as a Newcastle fan. Of course, I've supported the club for years. I've went to games since I was a little kid with my family, and no one knew who I was, obviously, because I just went to the games and I was just cracked on with my life. But ever since then, and especially since coming out of lockdown, I've done a lot of stuff. Of course, the protest was a big thing, and then interviews since then. And it's great. I've really enjoyed doing it. I do enjoy every minute of it because, like I said, Newcastle's my biggest passion in life. And talking about that, I just absolutely love it. You know, it means the world to me. The football club's helped me a lot throughout various times in my life because it's always the one thing you can look forward to when life's a bit shit. Yeah, the match on the weekend, because I do go home and away every week. And it does kind of feel surreal at times. Like, especially today, it was crazy. Like, I couldn't really believe what was happening. And for me, I'm still the same person. I'm still just a Newcastle fan, you know, the same as everybody else. But I've had some fantastic opportunities that I'll never ever forget. And just to pay tribute to Steve, I know he's not on the show anymore now; he's dropped off. But he has pretty much changed my life, to be honest with you, because, like I mentioned, I was like a really, really different person towards the beginning of the year. I was quite a quiet and quite a shy person, and he really brought something out in me which I never thought would come out. And he really, really did help us a lot, and he's been supportive throughout this whole thing. So just massive thanks to Steve if he does watch this back, and of course he hasn't had the best of days, but hopefully he can come round tomorrow, appreciate what's happened today, and just think, you know what it is, I'm a good person, I do a lot for a lot of people, and I deserve some credit and some praise.
Absolutely.
I think Holly as well. Like, I've been quite sort of absent on Twitter really, but I've been keeping up to date with like what's been going on, and it's kind of been quite difficult at times to ignore like a lot of the shite that's been getting flung backwards and forwards and stuff. But like I've been, I think I probably echo what a lot of people think as well. I've been like really impressed with how you've handled a lot of the shit that's been thrown from all angles. It seems like at times, and it got me thinking. Like I can't imagine how sort of 16-year-old, 17-year-old me would have coped with that kind of like pressure and that kind of sort of behaviour towards me. I was sort of running around on a park getting pissed when I was 16, but still, I don't know how. I think you've handled it really well. I think you should be really. But you've been a credit to not just to all us on here, but to all the fan base in general, Holly. So you should be proud, I think.
Thanks, Nathan. I really appreciate that. But from my perspective, with all of the people that kind of send you hate and stuff like that, I just think the only opinions that matter to me is the people that actually have like a say in my life, who are relevant, you know, the people, close family and friends. People on Twitter, I really couldn't care less about. And to be honest with you, I think it's a sign that you're doing something right when you get trolls, because if you're just quiet, then obviously you're not going to get trolls. And I willingly put myself in that spotlight. You know, I knew exactly what was going to happen. But, you know, we're all Newcastle fans. We've got the football club in common. So I've got no problems with anyone. They might have a problem with me, but it's not felt the same way back, you know. And I just think today is such a special day, and none of that shit matters anymore.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely.
Well said. Well said. Dazzler, what's next? What are we with 3 hours 43? Holy shit balls! Is this turned into like a fucking telethon or some shit?
Yeah.
It's like,
no,
we need to start saying to people, "Would you like to donate?" Because like I need someone to pay my phone bill.
I think we'd start wrapping up, lads. We've done 3 hours.
We've done our bit for the cause tonight.
It's been a great night, and great to have all you guys on, and everyone that came before you as well.
Hold on, 2 secs. There's a comment there. Chris A says he's still fucking here. He can come back on. Do we need to let him back on just to say goodnight? Because he's driving me mad. He's there, like he's still commenting. Do we let him back on for 2 seconds to wrap up and say goodnight? No, what do we do?
Chris is not in the chat.
He is, yeah. He's there.
No, he's not. He's not.
He is, yeah. He is.
So have we got any more fun videos or like just funny stuff to show? Can we have the zebra or what?
We're going to play out with the zebra.
Listen to Chris. He's like, have you got any good videos?
I'm just right, lads. I'm calling it a night. We're all have to get up in the morning. We're going to play out with the zebra, and we're going to say goodnight, everyone.
Nice.
There's only one man I know that sleeps with a hat and glasses. This man needs to go back to sleep again. But it was great catching up with you, Nate, and great seeing you as well, Holly. We haven't chatted for a while. And look, we'll bring on Chris to say goodnight as well.
One man I know the sleeps with a hat.
Good night, Chris.
He's there.
Now, Chris, come on and say goodnight. We bring him back again. Sorry, Chris.
Still there.
Great. And look, we'll bring on Chris to say goodnight as well. One man I know the sleeps with a hat. Good night, Chris. Now, Chris, come on and say goodnight. We bring him back again.
Oh man, what's going on? There's loads of echo there.
Chris has the sound down in the back, so that's where we're getting the relay. Lads, we are going to bring it to a close now. We'll just tell Chris to turn on the sound. If you can turn on the sound, Chris,
turn down the sound, Chris. We'll let you back on.
This is very like policey, this, isn't it?
Is it bad? Is your sound gone?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're allowed back on for 5 minutes.
Go on. Have the final word, Chris.
Have the final word, Chris. We'll leave it to you. On this momentous day, you can
no
close
pressure.
out.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I mentioned before that it was Mike Ashley bought the club on my birthday. I'm happy to see him gone today. I just think we all need to be realistic about where this club goes, but we can still dream and take it day by day. But we can wake up tomorrow and the next day and the next day, knowing that we don't have a shite owner. And that we like that banner says, we don't we want a club to compete, that a club that tries. We're not expecting Champions League qualification this season
until next season.
Yeah, next season maybe. But the club is finally in good hands with a ownership group that really understands the community, the fans, the club, what everything means to Newcastle. So fair play to Amanda and Mehrdad and PIF and everyone for getting this deal done, seeing it through.
No, absolutely.
When everyone was saying, it's they walked away, they're not coming back. For the people that believed in this the whole way through, that things were going on in the background as they should. It was the discredit that everything was played that when things were going bad, it was played out through the media. We should take comfort that things were settled behind the scenes when our favorite non-favorite reporters weren't asking questions. So fair play to them.
There you go. Quick one.
Thanks, Chris.
Quick one just
Nice
circulating on Twitter. So the current new owners of Newcastle United have alerted all current press and newspaper reporters that were previously banned by NUFC that they are fully welcome and expected at the Spurs game in 8 days' time.
Hope is back.
Mark,
Hope is
this goes back to what we said ages ago. As soon as you get new owners, it's literally like a no-win. It's so easy. All they've got to do is just do the basics. The people
Open
that
up the doors.
We haven't
and
had.
talk
Do
to
you know what I
people.
mean? Stuff like that. And Shearer's Bar, changing from number 9 back to Shearer's Bar. There's so many quick wins, and the fans will just absolutely adore them. I mean,
New TVs, get rid of the sports design signs. Yeah,
look at the fans outside the stadium today, and they haven't even put the foot in the door yet. It's an absolute bargain for them. Absolute bargain for them.
Last thing, lads, if anyone watches this back and watches all 3 hours 48 minutes of it and comes to the end and they see the message for subscribe, at this stage where to go to subscribe, youtube.com/c/loadedhq.
So as it currently stands, Dazzler, at this point, we need 94 subscribers to hit 1,000.
Get in.
Do it. We'll do another one.
So if you are watching, listen, massive appreciation tonight. We need 94 to hit 1,000. That was our goal for Christmas. It's the 7th of October, the day of the takeover, and we're 94 away. Get us there before Christmas, because then at least we can take Christmas off and do fuck all and enjoy it with our families for a while, which would be great, because certainly from mine, Daz, Pete's and Chris's perspective, we're in enough trouble doing 3.5 hours tonight without anything else. But yeah, listen, it's been a blast, lads. 3 hours, 50 minutes. I'm wrecked. I'm going to bed. I have work to do tomorrow. Yeah, takeover. We're now the richest club in the world. Hard to believe. From my perspective, Holly, Chris, Nate, listen, always good to see you guys and girls. To Daz, Richie, Chris, and Pete, who put his camera off and just fucked off. Don't know what happened there. He's like, I'll be back in a minute, lads. Just going to go and change up my Leicester shirt.
He fell asleep.
But he fell asleep in his curry or whatever he's eating. Yeah, I'm absolutely privileged to be with probably 4 of my best friends on this channel, who have got me through massive hurdles in the last 12 months. And yeah, look, many more to come. We got a bright future. And you know, from Nate, Holly, Chris, everybody that's certainly looked after us and came on the channel and done shows to get us to the point of nearly being at 1,000 subs within 6 months is absolutely mental. Considering, you know, we just make a lot of this shit up. Certainly I do. Daz does a massive, and again, to be fair, he doesn't get many shout outs, and I'm sure Chris will back me up on this.
Yeah, that's right.
Daz does a massive amount of work for these shows in putting together the StreamYards, putting together the pictures and all the other stuff that he does. You know, he doesn't have a part-time job like Chris does selling Avon. He has a real job. And he works really hard. So Daz, listen, mate, on behalf of me, Chris, and the rest of the boys, thanks very much, pal, for looking after us and setting us up.
Because look, it's all worth it. We've come this far, and I mean it from a takeover point of view.
You don't need to say nothing. I big you up and give you the entrance just to go, yeah, I'm fucking brilliant, and you know you have to go and talk and go.
I already said I'm going solo.
Daz, there's only one thing you can do now to repay Martin's calm words.
It's to play the zebra.
Close off. Let's go.
Here's to you.
Play the zebra.
Hey, cheers, lads.
Nate, Holly,
good night, everyone.
You're gonna love this.
Right, good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Pete's back. Pete's gone.
Okay, so we're going to end on the zebra. The last time we'll ever play the zebra on Takeover Day, and it's fitting that there's only 7 minutes left on a Thursday, and as we move into Friday, we have to play this. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
See you
Thank
later.
you, guys. We love you
Good
to
luck.
bits. See you later, guys.
It's Thursday, yeah, I'm on my way to work. It's Thursday, yeah, we fucking rich as fuck.
Easy, lads.
It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, woo! It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, woo! Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, woo!
Fuck off, man.